I think, yeah, we are live.
All right. Welcome to yet another show of DCL Primetime. Things are getting really hot and heavy, both on and off the field. As playoffs approach, we are getting into the real crux of the tournament. And now it's anybody and everybody has a chance on a day. On a playoff day, anything can happen. We've seen the number one seed get toppled by number 16, and that has happened a few times. So it's not like anything can be set in stone. But we'll try our best to kind of see statistics. We'll try to see matchups and try to predict as close as we can get based on what we have in front of us. But before we start off this show, I want to basically just make sure I address some of the concerns which have been creeping up last week. I want to make sure this show is nowhere affiliated with DCL. These are the opinions and comments shared on the show are personal, shared by from an analyst point of view, and nothing said here is supposed to be taken personally. If there is anything that is said that may have intentionally or unintentionally hurt someone's feelings or emotions, we truly apologize. But this show is to be taken in jest. Enjoy the show, enjoy the comments, and feel free to kind of join in the fun as well. So, with that said, we have quite a few games to go through. We'll probably go through the games which happened last week really quickly. There were some games which did matter in terms of positions, but there were several games which really didn't matter in terms of their results impacting the standings or the playoff races. So let's go on to the first game of this last weekend. It was between Hawks, the game of Hawks, Troy Hawks versus Hawks there. This game, didn't have much consequences. Hawks and Troy Hawks both are out of the playoff races. Hawks were pretty close. They depended on MI Rangers to, they needed some help from them. Those 4 or 5 runs made a lot of difference in Hawks having a chance to qualify. They did win this match really comprehensively. By 61 runs. The Troy Hawks didn't show up. They pretty much lost the game before it started. 94 runs they were chasing, and decent contributions all along from Hawks. They've been fairly strong in the games which they have won, but they have lost a couple of games which they could have won here. So if you look at the scorecard, Vikram scoring 13 at the towards the end, the 10th wicket partnership, that adding a lot of runs there, 20 from Yashwant, which propelled the score from being 875 for 8 to 94. Those 20 runs, did really have a momentum that Troy Hawks carried into their bowling. And then Troy Hawks, I guess, as you can see, a sorry tale of their scorecard here, all pretty much single digits, not even the extras helping here. And they pretty much got decimated completely by the Hawks. So all-round performance, as you can see, 4 wickets from Yashwant here as well. So both batting and bowling propelling Hawks to an easy win here. Those are 5 points. Definitely not in the playoff race this year, but this will impact the position as we go into the next year's rankings when we decide the tiers. So they will probably have a healthy ranking there in the tier as well. Anything, Vijay, you like to add before?
Yeah, Parthiv, Hawks just missed the playoffs by 1 point.
Yep.
If Miles did not get that 1 point, that bonus point when that last game, they would have ended up at 37 points. And if they ended up at 37, Hawks would have gone through. I do not know if you realize this, but Hawks won the last 5 games, all of them with bonus.
Wow.
So the last 5 games, they got 25 points. So the thing is that, what made them miss by 1 point? It was the first 7 games.
Yep.
The first 7 games, they had up and down when Naresh, I guess, was missing. And the last 5 games were all solid victories, with bonus. Anytime you win with bonus, I always consider it a one-sided game. I think, again, as I said before, I felt that the Hawks team has a lot of talent on their team. So I think they have a lot to look forward to. But having said that, this is probably one step back because they reached the playoffs and quarterfinals last year.
Yep.
And this year, you missed the playoffs by 1 point. You won the last 5 games with bonus. I mean, you don't. And if they end up in tier 2, as you guys are saying, then the question then becomes: they really probably are a tier 1 team who end up being in tier 2.
Well, I'm saying
that is if you guys are that is if you guys are limiting it to 16 teams.
Correct.
As tier 1.
I was just getting to that. Yep. If that happens, I mean, if the format comes out where the top 16 are in tier 1 and the rest in tier 2, then but you never know, it might be top 24 go into tier 1, so we haven't decided that yet. But nevertheless, these wins which you talked about, those 5 wins which they got on a trot, definitely has boosted their position and their chance for getting into tier 1. Interestingly, both Strikers and Hawks would have been on 37 if Rangers had scored that 4 runs, but they would have still gone through on better net run rate. So we were expecting that if it comes to this game, then we were expecting Troy Hawks to kind of at least deliver from our point of view. But nevertheless, as I said, this game didn't really have any impact on the standings or the rankings. But nevertheless, a good win for Hawks.
Yeah, but at least you have to give them kudos for showing up in an inconsequential game and still putting their best out there, So I think a lot of teams have to look towards Hawks and see what they can do right, and what are they doing wrong, because Hawks is certainly getting their job done. And I think Troy Hawks, their problem was they lost too much talent, especially when you lose the likes of Kaushik and Konreddy and things like that, Pradeep Konreddy. That's too much talent to lose. So that was their problem. And even if you unearth some talent, I mean, they have some good players, but you can't replace those once in a lifetime players.
Yep. Let's go to the second game. Another game which was a crash of the bottom teams, Spartans and Marvels, both teams which haven't got a lot of victories under their belt this year. So it was a clash between the 2 teams who are relatively at equal strength from a so it was an interesting game. I'm sure that they must have enjoyed it. Spartans coming on top here. Again, Spartans, have been a good side. They've lost a few players over the years and haven't been able to kind of replace that talent. But if you see, Spartans, Chanakya was the guy here, and losing him has really impacted their performances this year. Last year, Chanakya was able to get a few wins and got a few upsets as well. But this year, Spartans have struggled much of the top elite in DCL. Coming back to this game, they were helped by the 23 extras, but Kaushik and Akhil, that partnership propelled them to that score of 7. Marvels really tried everything. As you can see here, they pretty much gave everyone a bowl. 8 bowlers used. Last game of the season, might as well give everyone a chance. Everyone pretty much rolled their arm. That resulted in a lot of extras, as you can see here. The whites were the low. And then when it came to batting, I think Marvels have been struggling. They haven't put up a good score in any of the games that I remember. But in this game, I think it was a fairly decent effort. Again, Spartans, kind of as well, 21 from their side. Sriram and Mahesh stitched up a partnership towards the middle order, but the Ducks, as you can see, no contribution. 5 Ducks here on the scorecard. That really they could have had a chance for victory here. They could have upset Spartans. Pretty much everyone on the analysts Spartans, but it was a close affair. I mean, I would say at one point of time when Mahesh and Sriram were going, they had a fairly good partnership and they were looking strong to kind of get to that 90 score. So all in all, I think a good game for Spartans to win towards the end of the season. Hopefully, they can get back to winning ways as
Yeah, Partha, I mean, pretty inconsequential game. And since we have so much to cover with playoffs, I'll just pass on the comments.
Yep. Next game was another one. It's funny that a lot of these games towards the end, the luck of the draw has happened that a lot of these teams, equal strength teams, are competing towards the end. I would have loved these games to happen at the start. That would have definitely helped some of these teams to carry this momentum. Dark horses, they have had a better season this year. Got a couple of wins. They were close to beating Titans in the first game, or second game of the season when they got them out for 30 odd runs, but weren't able to get those runs. And then they beat a couple of good teams. But in this game, I think I think it was another Pankaj Watts and no one else kind of a show. As you can see, he's 21 out of the 59. If you take them out, there's pretty much no contribution from the rest of the uh, batting lineup for Dark Horses. 5 wickets for Ravi Teja. A great performance towards the end for SLCC. SLCC, the second tier team for the sister team for Legends, has a good talent, and it does do a great job in giving that pipeline to Satish and the Legends team to really identify a couple of players that they can basically see if they can bring it to the Legends team. But all in all, a disappointing season for both. What started off Guardians had a fairly good run. They had Vikram, who is a great prospect. He's been picking up wickets and scoring runs, but towards the end, he's kind of faded away. But really interesting prospect there. Very young guy. I've seen him. He's about 18 or 19 years old. If he carries on, he has fairly good prospect in this year. But another inconsequential game. SLCC Guardians winning by a narrow margin, but getting all the 5 points.
Yeah, Parthiv, I do not know if you saw Raghu Kurapati played this game. I
Oh,
do not know if you remember that. Remember him? Yep,
yep.
but he's from Dark Horses team, so I see him on the scorecard. So that
Yes.
was good to see him there. I do not know how many games he played, but I just saw his name on the scorecard. So
Yeah, I
nice.
think he's played a couple of games. He stays pretty close to where I am, so he meets me every now and then here in the area. Yes,
Okay.
he is. I think he's played a couple of games in the last two weekends. I think I've seen him once on the ground, and then this game also. So good to see him. He looks fit still.
Okay.
So
Okay. Good.
it's good to see him
Let's
on the
go
ground.
on.
Yep. All right, next game. This game was interesting. I thought, people have doubts over how this game went, but I think this was another. Uh,
Parthiv, I have no doubts about how this game went. I have no doubts. All right. So people can have the doubts, but it's interesting because let me stop you whether you're politically correct. I don't care about being politically correct. I express my views. I'm the color analyst. I express what is on my mind. I have no doubts about this. My good friend Vijay Shanmugam called me and personally asked me, what did I think about this game? I said, Vijay, what's there to think about this game? Maulik is a genius. Simple as that. We had already told on the last show. And actually, sometimes it's interesting. Things happen by chance. And I don't think, the Lord bless Vamsi's heart, KK's heart, because KK is the one who, out of the blue, asked me this question. Hey, if you had a choice to play between Stars or Indus Thunders or what was that, Red Devils, I think.
mhm.
Which one is the team which you would like to avoid? And I don't like to duck a question, so I told him the honest answer, which was that hey, if I have to pick between those three and I had to pick one guy out, I would prefer not to play the Stars. It's a mark of respect. That's it. But having said that, then he said, okay, all of us are agreed. And in fact, Kaushik was also on the show, happened to be visiting KK. I think everybody said nobody wanted to have anything to do with the Stars. It's like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Rocky. I mean, when you
Yep.
see the movie Rocky, I think it's Rocky 3, Mr. T is there in that. And
Right.
Rocky's trainer says, hey, and Mr. T keeps challenging Rocky to have a fight with him. And Rocky's manager wants nothing to do with Mr. T. And at some point, Rocky is wondering, why in the world you don't want me to fight? And so his manager comes out, you get into the ring, you will get killed. So, we don't want to have anything to do with them. So it's pretty much the same thing here. I mean, if you don't have to play stars, okay. So then the next question is, okay, between Red Devils and Indus Thunders, and I always have respect for the champions. Champion has a champion's heart. So again, my answer was Indus Thunders, and everybody also felt the same way. So after that, I said, well, you know what? Maulik Patel got the answer which he was looking for as to whether he should play stars or whether he should go for the win or whether he should play this thing. I was waiting to see what Maulik Patel will do, because that would have told me the cricketing intelligence of Maulik Patel. Because as soon as this game started, the first thing I did was to go and see what is the team Maulik Patel has fielded. And I saw Ronak U. Patel was not on the scorecard. You get my point? And I'll tell you why Ronak U. Patel is not on the scorecard. Now, this is my opinion. All right. Now, remember, I have played with Ronak U. Patel for what? 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, whatever it is. We have known each other for a long time. I'll tell you, Ronak U. Patel will not deliberately want to throw his wicket. All right. So in this game, if you played this game and you want to lose this game, and Ronak U. Patel is going into the middle, and if Maulik is saying, well, I want you to throw your wicket, the answer would be, no, I'm not throwing my wicket. You get my point? I'm not just going and getting out for duck and coming back. I mean, let them earn my wicket. That would be Ronak's answer. So Ronak U. Patel would have found it easier to say, you know what, I'm not playing this game. Rather than come and play this game and make a mockery out of the whole thing, I'm not playing this game. So Vijay wanted to know what I thought about it. And I told Vijay, Maulik has earned the right. Now, if he wants to lose the game, that's his choice, because he earned the right. I mean, he did some good job in the first 11 games, and he's in a strong position, and he wants to decide whether he wants to play stars. I know who he wanted to play. He wanted to play our fellow analyst, the Detroit Titans. That is what Maulik Patel wanted. Deep down in his heart, it's not GLCC. The team he really, 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 really wanted was Detroit Titans. And but and this is from somebody else who was, the neighboring game was Red Devils versus Fighters. And apparently there again, Fighters have a lot of thinking power, and they were also finding out what is going on in the neighboring game. And both these guys are worrying about each other because they also wanted to lose the game. That's what I was told. Now, that portion I do not know. I don't think it is as obvious with the Fighters Red Devils game as much as it is with this game. All right. This game, you can look at it. Your top bowlers didn't bowl 5 overs. Tarun bowled 3 overs. Ronnie bowled 3 overs. I mean, anybody and everybody who wanted to bowl could bowl. I'm very sure. If I had gone and played on Maulik's team, Maulik would say, Joe, you want to bowl 5 overs? I will give you 5 overs. Okay. This is the kind of game it was. And then somewhere in between, I think there was a tussle over a run out. And then I think Maulik got mad and went in, and I think he hit some 4 sixes or something like that. And then he realized, oh my God, I might win this game. So another adjustment happened. But by not getting the bonus point, he went from playing Titans to playing GLCC. And the Fighters probably were the happiest people because they got the bonus point and they ended up going and playing Titans. So the race was to who is going to play Titans. And I think that's where it was. And again, Maulik is not sad or something like that. He's very happy he's playing GLCC. His point is, well, I don't want to play Stars. I don't want to play Glads, but I would rather play GLCC or Titans or any of those teams out there. So I have no doubts about what really happened in this game. Nobody else should have any doubts also. That's the way it works. I mean, I think in this case, the person or the team which really, really got the bad deal is Dynamites. Dynamites end up now having to play Stars. And Dynamites will have to figure something out now.
Yep, and I think even Gabaji is not here, but I am thinking even Detroit Titans, probably got a good deal as well. I mean, I think they would gladly take on Fighters without Mahesh in town. So Fighters is not going to be as strong without their captain and their talisman in the team. So it's going to be interesting. I'm pretty sure Gabaji would be thrilled about that. But
Oh, I'm sure he'll be thrilled because on one side, if MBB is not there, that is one less thing to worry about. And on top of that, but he's a top team. So as a top team, you would expect to get a easier matchup in round one. That's why you did all this body of good work with the hope
yep,
that you'll get a good matchup out there. But yeah, I mean, anyways, I mean that's how it works. I mean, there are two
yeah,
ways to look at it. One is you go for the win, which is, or you can decide, all right, I want a better matchup. I do not know if you were there on the last show where KK said this, that he has deliberately lost some games in Michigan Cup or whatever it is in order to get a better matchup. So
yeah. I
again, I
mean,
think it is.
yeah, everything is fair. I don't think losing and trying to fielding a lesser team to not win. That's all gamesmanship. Interestingly, what I feel, yeah, my observation is this hasn't happened in DCL in a very very long time. That we've got a situation where the last week is kind of has that opportunity for people to do that. Most of the times that I've played, it's a mad race. You cannot basically afford to lose. Most teams are trying desperately to win and get the position and get into the playoffs. So this is an unusual season where pretty much all the 16 teams were decided in the week before. So that has given some of this some opportunity to these captains to kind of you know uh, uh, play around with it. But
Is,
coming back to
is our friend Satya there? Because I see Gaba has just sent a note. Satya? Well, looks like he's not there. Well, just remember, Parthiv, Gaba says that Chanakya can join us today.
okay,
So he's going to be our special guest analyst who's going to be analyzing the playoff matchups. When Satya comes online, and I'm not sure what he's doing because he really should be on the show.
Okay, guys.
Uh,
Yeah.
Satya, can you send an invite to Chanakya? He's going to
Okay.
join the show. So that's a
I'll,
Gaba just sent a text. All right, sorry, Partho. I just had to get that out because that's a major thing with regards to us planning for the show.
yep. Yep, but I was going to get at is we talked about Gujarat Lions, but I think we probably want to give some talk about local boys. I think they performed really well this season. They were probably a couple of wins short from really challenging that position in the playoffs. We cannot take away from Srinivas alumni, and I think he's had a fabulous season this game as well. If you look at the 59 that he scored in quick time, 4 6s and 1 4 in at a strike rate of 122. He and Arun really blasted the Gujarat Lions bowling. Towards the end, there was a decent contribution from Prashant as well, which got them to that 135 run. So nothing, we cannot take it away from local boys. Whatever Gujarat Lions were trying or whatever their game plan was, strategy was, I think local boys would definitely feel short if he said that they didn't deserve this and Gujarat Lions gave them on a platter. I would definitely feel like local boys own this game. Whatever the side it may be, without Ronak you with a second string side, but nevertheless, local boys should feel proud of winning this game and getting those 5 points.
Yeah, I agree, Parthiv. I mean, it's what is local boys supposed to do? They are supposed to play the team which is in front of them. I mean, I think I do not know if you realize this. I think Srinivas Elumalai is number 2 on the batting list. He has been batting like this all season long. He has been uh, bang, bang, bang right at the opening start. He has been batting and giving solid starts to local boys. Local boys' problem was they ended up in Pool B, and it was a very, very probably the toughest pool ever in DCL history. So that was their problem. I think if they were in Pool C, I think we would have seen them in the playoffs. So I think this is a team which is well managed. This is the team which is doing well. Srinivas has been a bright spot, and as you said, Arun has been doing a good job. I think Sheikh Mohammed didn't have a good game, good season this year, but I remember seeing his name on the list last year or year before that and things like that. Satya Kampala has always been a pretty good player. So this team has a lot going for them. I mean, might be tough to see them in Pool B again. I'm hoping that it won't be just 16 teams in the top tier pool. That might be more like 24 teams. That's what I hope. But anyway, it's up to people to decide. It doesn't really impact us as such. But I always feel that people should all play for the big cup, the main cup. Simple as that. Because I was asking Vijay the same question. Can you tell me who won the contenders 2 years ago? And he couldn't tell me. And I said, guess what? The reason is nobody is even paying attention to it. But anybody can tell you who won the cup 2 years ago in DCL for the regular championship. And I can tell you the last 10 winners, even if you wake me up from my sleep, because that's where all the focus goes. But we'll see what happens. But congrats to local boys. Good season. Hard luck that you were in Pool B.
Yep. All right, let's go on to the next game: Stars versus Motor City. Both the game. This is a game again which had very little significance. Stars already qualified to playoffs. Motor City, have been nowhere near playoffs. So it was a game where both teams were chilled out, relaxed, and Zishan took full toll of Motor City. It's 58, another great start at the end, and he's been providing that start to Stars this season. Those quick rapid runs over toward the top that has made the Stars batting along with the Ravi Teja. He wasn't in this game, but the Stars batting look a little better than it is, but it's still very fragile, still very brittle. Without Ravi Teja in the mix, the rest of the team really needs to pick it up if they want to go far in the playoffs. This game, 128 runs against Motor City was a very tall ask for Motor City, and after that, as you can see here, 73, decent Karthik Kesavanatham. He's a pretty good player. I've seen him, and he definitely stands out from the Motor City squad. And he's had a pretty good season as well. He's got pretty good scores, and he's kind of the lone man in Motor City. But a season to forget for Motor City. They haven't really got anywhere close to challenging anyone. A win or two here and there against low-ranked teams. But if they really have to put some impact on this DCL season, they need to start, getting some talent, really putting people in the right positions. Because I still feel when we played them in the games, there's still a lot of experimentation, a lot of things that are going on. On the Stars bowling lineup, I think as you can see here, everybody rolled arm. Even our good old friend Hari Panapusham rolled his arm and got 2 wickets. Viju, he got 2 wickets, and I'm sure he's going to be very, very proud of that. Obviously, Akshat got 5 wickets, but good to see, Hari. I'm probably sure he's going to be talking about this all week to his teammates, how he got the 2 wickets from his 2.2 overs. But nevertheless, sweet victory for Stars going into the playoffs, and now is where the business end of the season starts for them.
Yeah, Partha, I think Motor City won some. At least they beat. Who is this? They beat one of the teams, which was I think local boys, which was not something uh, which was expected kind of a thing. And so, I mean, it is what it is. But I think Motor City did a pretty good job, at least in terms of the fact that they were in Pool B, and so Pool B was always going to be tough. But since they did a good job, considering their tough positioning. I think Bhargav had a subpar season compared to what Bhargav has done in the past. So let's wish them good luck in the off season. Stars are looking like the stars.
Yep. All right. The next game, SSK versus SLCC Legends. Now, I know there was quite a few things that have been said around the SSK captain Lingappan, and we mentioned in the show at the start of the show, and I'll reiterate it for people who may have joined later. Anything that was basically said with Lingappan in context, Lingappan, if you're listening to the show, we do not intend to intentionally or unintentionally hurt your feelings. So if there was anything that was said, it was in in humor. Nothing that was said that was kept in mind to any kind of vengeance or anything. So even if that has gone in the wrong way, we on the show kind of apologize for what we might have said unintentionally. But let's take it in a on the stride, and let's move on from there.
Parthiv, I'm sorry, but I do not apologize.
That's fine.
I mean, I'm just telling from my point of view, I do not apologize. I do not like somebody trying to come and trying to act too smart with me. I do not enjoy that too much. And he can go and do what he wants to do. He probably should go and watch some Saturday Night Live where he sees that the president of the United States, which is Donald Trump, was mocked by Alec Baldwin left, right, and center. He should learn something about First Amendment rights, and then he should talk about things. And First, he should try to improve his team. He has been going around making a lot of statements. And then when you want something, Parthiv, if I want something from you, I would come and approach you politely and talk to you, and I will try to get what I want. I wouldn't come and try to demand things. He's been bullying people. He's not going to bully me into anything. I'll tell you that much. All right. And he thinks that he has a lot of suppositions. These are all suppositions in his own mind. I care two squats about those suppositions. Take that.
Let's move on, Viju. I don't think we should spend a lot of time on that. We have quite a few interesting segments we need to cover, and cricket is our focus point. I think the side conversations, as I mentioned, we need to kind of keep this in humor and keep this like things that you just take it, just enjoy it. Nothing that was said was anything that was detrimental to anybody's character or anything like that. So it was just a humor. It was a segment which we just did. So let's move on from there. This game, let's focus on this game here. Legends, an easy victory for Legends. Legends have been looking really, really strong, and we'll look at some stats that we've gathered, and you will see they've been doing exceptionally well towards the end of the season. Yes, they started a little shaky towards the start, but they have really got their batting and bowling together. And credit to Ravitej Pujari, he's been kind of the standout performer for them. Yes, we all kind of when Legend, we all kind of come to Harish Yalamachali as their key player, but this season has been Ravitej Pujari. He's been he along with Guru Naga, in the bowling department. They both have really put Legends to where they are right now. They play Pokies, which is not going to be an easy game, but it's going to be very interesting because I think both these teams play together quite a bit, so they know the insides out of that game. But here, SSK, I think, put up a decent show. A couple of good performances from Sachin and Sai got them to a decent score of 86. I'm pretty sure SSK would take that against Legends bowling. But then coming to Legends, I think they streamrolled. Praveen was promoted up the order. Sampath also towards the top. Ravitej Pujari, he wasn't even needed in this. It was such a easy, smooth sailing victory for Legends that these two guys, Praveen and Sampath, did the job for them. 90 for 3 in 16 overs. Pretty much a dominant show here. So Legends look good, look strong, and hopefully this season they are able to go past that pre-quarters and quarters. They are better team than that, I feel, to go into at least the semis. But let's see how they cross that hurdle in the pre-quarterfinals.
Yeah, I mean, Partha, Maulik was very upset with me last week. He called me and told me that, hey, Viju, you shouldn't have taken that video down. I said, I did not take the video down. I did not ask for the video to be taken down. If Satya wanted to take the video down, that's Satya's problem. I did not take the video down. But having said that, legends were masterful. Maybe instead of mixing too many things, and instead of threatening that I'm going to give a walkover and blah, 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 these things really don't you can intimidate as much as you want, and when you think that you can go around calling people corrupt and this and that and whatnot, if you don't have the ability to take things as they come, I think you're going to have a tough time ahead. But I'm not a person who can be bullied into things, and I will not be bullied. Simple as that. I believe in what I say, and it's just the way. He has a problem, he can come and take it up with me. I got 2 squats. That's how I feel. That's right now. I'm really, really ticked off with this guy because I had a 30-minute conversation with him where I think he was recording me, and I was not too happy about that. And when you just try to push the trigger, it doesn't go well. But anyway, let's move on. And I think legends were masterful. They did not mix anything. Simple as that. And you know what, Parthiv? If there is a problem between if you bought a Ferrari, and if your Ferrari had a problem, you don't take it to a Ford workshop to get to get the factory recall. You take it to the Ferrari dealership. You see, so same way, DCL committee has nothing to do with this. Simple as that. This show is a private show which is run on the Glad's channel.
Cool. Yeah, as I said, every the opinions or suggestions or comments shared here are truly personal, someone's opinion. Nothing to be taken literally. All right, let's go to the next game. So we're moving on. Royal Hunkars versus MI Rangers. I think MI Rangers, for no fault of their own, must have got a lot of comments and feedback and curses. I mean, I say curses, but not really curses. I would say things which are hopeful. They had in their hands the lifeline of a lot of teams, and a lot of teams were cheering for them. We were talking about how there were at least 16 17 odd people watching that game, MI Rangers game, as they were getting close to that 5 runs between them and MCC Miles. But nevertheless, they couldn't do that. They spoiled Hawks, Strikers, and several other teams from getting into the playoffs. But in this game here, it was a complete decimation. In Royal Hunkars, the bottom ranked team, along with Cover Drive, they haven't really shown any kind of fight, any kind of resilience. I guess they are a bunch of people, bunch of guys who just want to enjoy. They have got a real taste of DCL. Sure that they would have realized now that it's no point in going there and having a good time. If they want to really win, they better be serious, better start recruiting, finding talent, and coming back to next season with some real talent that can make their journey a lot more consequential rather than in this manner where they haven't been able to get wins. But MI Rangers, a win at last, a comprehensive win at last. They haven't been the team that we were looking forward to last season, where they gave quite a few scares. 41 winning by 10 wickets, easy win. We move on to the next game. Let's go to the Cheetahs Pokhari's game. I think this game again, one-sided. Both teams, didn't really have anything to lose or win.
Can you show the scorecard, Parthiv?
Oh,
I mean, you're not. Your screen is not showing, at least.
Okay, let me. Yeah, I thought when Satya came, I thought he would start sharing, so that because I have to toggle between this and I don't get a chance to see you. So yeah. So
don't you see us on the side? No.
No, I mean, can you see the scorecard now? I have to switch between windows to see you versus.
Okay.
Yeah. So Maybe I can try this way. Hold on. Oh, did I shut down? What do you see the scorecard now?
No, I don't see the scorecard.
Evidently must have collapsed it. Wait, let me log on quickly. Yeah, so I was talking about the Cheetahs versus the Pokeries game. Uh, I think nothing to lose for Pokeries, nothing to lose for Cheetahs. But I thought, now, am I sharing?
Yeah. You are.
All right, nothing to lose for both these teams. I think Cheetahs, I think, would have been trying to at least get something out of the season. I mean, this was a last ditch effort from them to get a win, but Pokies have been strong, especially chasing. They've been able to kind of get a lot of wins. We'll see some of the stats which will show which teams kind of have done a very good job of chasing. In this case, apart from Rupendra, he stood out. Out of 70 runs, he scored 32, but no real support from anyone from the team. Cheetahs, which was formerly Kings 11, I remember was it last season or the season before, they were competing with us for the 16th position. It was only in the last week that we were able to get past them. So they were fairly close, but this season hasn't been anywhere close to them. I mean, close to that season. So, nevertheless, Neil being a standout performer for Pokies, 5 wickets. One thing I would say, Pokies, they've got the most razor thin squad. So the 16, 17 people that they have pretty much are coming in day in and day out and performing. So finally, Vignesh, I really adore, really like as a batsman and as a player. He's been great with the bat and the ball. Great innings from him at 42. As you will see in probably the stats, he is kind of standing out. He along with Saran Raj stands out as their two key performers for this season. So I think Neil, Saran, and Vignesh are going to be the key going into these playoffs. But Pokies look very strong for me.
Parthiv, when Glatz played Pokeries, there was a guy I forgot to mention, and the guy who I forgot to mention was Arun Tinakaran. Only after the show was over, I realized, you know what, I didn't say one word about it, and I felt miserable about it because, he played such a fantastic game
Yeah.
against Glatz. So when you just now said Vignesh, this game really performed very well, and I think it's an ominous sign going into the playoffs because they say form is temporary and class is permanent, and his class is now showing up. I think with Saran and Vignesh and Raghu, and then you add Arun Tinakaran into the mix. Arun Tinakaran is the X factor. He can, some of the shots, you have to go and watch that Glatz Pokeries game. I actually went and, even though it was against us, I actually went and watched it because some of these were like IPL style shots. He has a special knack of going on on his knee and hitting a six right over mid wicket. I mean, it is a fantastic ability to do it. I mean, hey, I can't do it. Most of the people that I know also can't do it. But this guy, this is not the only year. Last year also he did that to us, and time after time he has done that. And every week I say, oh, I should mention it. I should mention it. And somehow when the time comes, I forget all about it. And on the show, we are always trying to highlight the people who are doing well, and the guys who are getting on our nerves, we give it to them left and right. At least I give it left and right. And so the thing is that, Arun Tinakaran is an absolutely fabulous player. I think he's going to be a big problem for anybody the Pokeries runs into. And I think our friends at Legends, they might want to pay some special attention to Arun Tinakaran. And it's not just Saran and Vignesh and Raghu and a couple of other guys, but I think Arun Tinakaran is in the form of his life. And he's a special player, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, they've got quite a few X factors in in their team. So it's hard to. I mean, they've got a complete unit. Them along with Panthers, I think if I have to point two teams that are complete unit, I think those two teams are definitely complete unit. They've got quite a few match winners. All right, let's go on to the next one. We have okay, Red Devils versus Fighters. This is another game, like we talked about Lions and uh, the local boys game. This was another game which was completely outlandish. The way Fighters lost was truly a sight to be seen. And before I go into that game, I think we need to talk about this bowling figures from Gagan Singh. I think these are the best figures ever recorded in DCL. I'm not sure of the previous years. I think there were some close ones, 6 for 3, 6 for 5, 6 for 4, or something. But this is outrageous. 5 overs, 4 maidens,
29 dot balls. 29
yep,
dot balls.
29 dot balls. And when I was talking about this, when I was highlighting this in the social media, I was talking to Venkat Kola, the Red Devils captain. He told me that that one ball was actually a dropped catch from none other
Okay.
than Swarna, and he
Oh.
was and he was
Okay.
so apologetic to
Okay.
to Gagan and the rest of the Red Devils team that he dropped it. Otherwise, this would have been unbelievable. Like 5 maidens, 7 wickets, and 0 runs. It would have been.
And 7 wickets is the DCL record.
Yep.
So I mean, I agree with you. I think we gave him the game changer of the week, didn't we?
Yep, we did. Yep. This
Yeah,
figure.
I mean, congrats to Gagan Singh on getting the game changer of the week. I mean, I don't know. I saw the figures and I thought it was simply outstanding. I mean, there was nothing. Uh, I first thought, maybe the wickets and the runs were mixed up, kind of a thing. Then I had to actually go through the scorecard, and it is, one after the other: Gagan Singh, Gagan Singh, Gagan Singh. I don't know. I mean, he's been having a fabulous season. We'll have to. I mean,
I think
what were the fighters doing? I do not know. Only the fighters know the answer to that question.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, giving it to one bowler, I mean that much domination. If you look at the rest of the bowlers, I mean they were leaking runs. I mean not leaking runs, but they were fairly 2 and 3 per overs. They weren't that impactful, but that was one bowler, Gagan Singh, that they couldn't somehow get out of, or get him out of the attack. Just not give him the wickets. They would have been better off seeing him off. Even if you give him 5 overs, 5 maidens, 0 runs, 0 wickets, they would have been in a better position. But somehow they kept giving the wickets away to Gagan. And if you look at, two cotton balls, LBW, all over the place. He's like everywhere and anywhere. But as we talk about this game, I think Red Devils would be a little worried about their batting going into the season. I think the big game that they chased, with so much ease, Canton Hurricanes, I remember they chased like 140 odd and really quick, like 19, 20 overs. That basically, got the antennas up for everyone. Like, this is a team to reckon with. And then we come across this scorecard of 61 for 11. Obviously it's a glitch, but as you can see here, the batting completely fails in the last 2 games. I think I've seen that happening with Red Devils. I hope this is just another day where things didn't go right, but I have full faith in Red Devils giving Raptors a real run for the money. A lot of these players, just like I said about legends and pokies, Red Devils and Raptors also play a lot of cricket together, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they kind of weigh each other's strength and weakness. But Fighters nevertheless lost this game. Now they face Detroit Titans, which is all without the MBB in the mix, is going to be a real uphill task from here. And with a new captain suddenly in the mix, Sai is going to start. Is going to captain Fighters straight away into the playoffs. I know he's experienced. I know he's been there, for Falcons and uh, Patriots up before this, but it's going to be challenged straight away to take a team into the playoffs and start leading it.
Yeah, well, and they have Venkat Vatnala there too, so they have a lot of experience there. But again, I think Gagan Singh against his former team in Raptors, I think
Yep.
that's a real mouth-watering matchup to go and see. I mean, I think it's one of the great matchups to see. I would like to see how Gagan bowls to Amar or to Kaushik, because
Mhm.
I happen to see the Titans versus Raptors game in its entirety. So I know that our friend Kaushik was just lifting the balls and they are going for six. And if Gaba was here, Gaba will probably have to admit to the same thing, that Kaushik was the difference in that game. I mean, I don't know how many sixes he hit, 4 or 5 sixes he hit. He was just lifting it and it was outside the park. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think Gagan Singh will pose a problem for both Amar as well as to Kaushik. I think more to Kaushik than to Amar, but we'll see. We'll see what
Yep.
happens.
Cool. All right. Moving on to the next game, Strikers versus FCC Agni. Another game which had no consequences. Both Strikers and FCC Agni are both out. Strikers, again, just like Hawks and Hitman, had an outside chance before this week, but that got out of the way with MI Rangers losing. Nevertheless, I think this season has been good for Strikers. I can say, we've got two people who scored 50s. We've got a couple of great finds in the form of Sarvesh. Uh, he's been a great add to us, especially at the top of the order. He's been consistent. He's been probably our top scorer this entire season, and we've got a couple of decent finds. Munesh has been good. He's coming along the ranks. I can see him being with us for a long time, and so has Dinesh. He's matured. Last season was a great season for him. This season, he's definitely stepping up. He needs to be a little more consistent. Like last year, he's got a 50 this year. So he's performed well. But I would say, I kind of predicted this at the start of the season. I wasn't really sure if we would reach the playoffs, but the fact that we actually came so close is very satisfying. That we were almost there, because the kind of talent that we're losing as age grows, it's definitely a kind of a trying to rebuild the team with Kishore and some of the young guys coming through the ranks. But this was an easy game, I would say. Once we scored those 150 runs, courtesy Sarvesh, I think we always knew that the game was in the bag. And then we really didn't have to use a lot of you know uh, the field. We didn't really have to use our primary bowling pen. We gave everyone a decent run. Monesh, Sarvesh doesn't bowl. He hasn't bowled this season, but he's got 2 wickets in this game. So everyone got a decent outing. We had a good time with FCC, and Agni is always a good team. I really like Ramesh and how he conducts, and how he's super friendly with everyone. So we had a nice time. But next season, hopefully, both teams come back stronger and give a decent run in the playoffs.
Yeah, Parthiv, I mean, I think straightforward game. Good job by strikers. But again, I think after winning against Glads,
Yep.
I think that 1 point which you dropped against Glads by the narrowest of margins by 1 run, and then the Stars game. I think the Stars game hurt you even more,
Right.
because not only you did you lose your bonus, but you also, if you had taken the catch, you would have won the game itself.
Yep.
So if you had got that 4 points, you would be in the playoffs right now. So
Yep.
you would have been the sixth team out in the playoffs. So
Correct.
I
Yeah,
I
there were
think
some moments where we had situations where we could have gone either way. But to be honest, I don't think a catch could be blamed, or a run could be blamed. I think it's some of the other games that we shouldn't have lost, like local boys, which I think really impacted us.
yeah, but it's ranked number one and ranked number two. So both those teams, you gave them a hard time, and you should have won the ranked number two also. You beat the ranked number one, and you should have beaten ranked number two also. You could have made a real splash, but yeah, I mean, it's the narrowest of margins, which is why I was hoping not to see strikers in pool second tier or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see how the tier system goes. We might be, one way or the other, either, bottom of the tier one or top of tier two. All right. Indus Thunders and Thunderbolts. Another game which was not really having any impact, but I think Thunderbolts would take a lot of credit from getting Thunders for the game of Thunders. Both teams having the Thunder in their names. But I think the Thunderbolts would have probably the more better feeling coming out of this game, because getting Indus Thunder out for 80 odd is not an easy task. And I guess Thunders took it easy. They had some batting which they played around with. Sending up Rahul and Jalaj up the order. Manoj kind of coming at the bottom. He generally opens. He's in the top order, and they also had a couple of other team players kind of coming in to join them. Like I see Ravi Chelanti, Ravi Ganta, and Azim kind of playing in this game as well. So they knew that they had the playoff. Win or lose, they were not going to really make any changes. Yeah, they didn't want to lose the game, but that even with the second swing side, they had enough weapons to get over Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts, we talked about them time after time. They have a very decent unit. Deepak Bhaskaran and Vinod and Devnath and some of the other players, but somehow performance hasn't been there yet, there in this season. And this was another case where the same thing happened. Everyone on the Thunders team got a hold. They tried 7 bowlers. They really have to push Dinesh and Manoj towards the end. Gave Azim a decent run. He's picked up a wicket as well. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, we expected this result, didn't we?
Yeah. Yep, it was very one-sided from the get-go. Now, Dharia versus Stingers. I think this was a game that was really interesting, because after Dharia scored 98, I was very, very keen on seeing how Stingers would come up back, and come back they did. Look at the score, 103 for 4 in 12 overs. They just basically went about their business of making sure Dharia, whatever chances they had after scoring those 90 runs, vanished very quickly. Stingers, Vaibhav and Kamlesh, both of them making sure they scored and quickly chased the runs down, really in rapid succession. They were 47, 41, and 24 of 12. They basically wanted to make sure that they leave this season with an impact. Stingers has been very impressive. They've got a couple of really good wins. They upset Raptors on their way, but they haven't got string of fights together to get them to playoff. Be serious about playoff. But nevertheless, I think Alagu, if he doesn't lose any more players, I think he has a very
In other words, if strikers don't steal any more players, he should be good. Not just strikers, my friend Maulik Patel also stole some players from him. Didn't Tarun play for them last year?
Yes, I think Tarun, and I think there was one other guy who also left.
Okay.
Ketan Joshi or yeah, someone. But
Okay.
yes, hopefully they have this season, with these wins that they have, they are able to keep these guys, especially Kamresh. I think he's very impressive with the bat, and obviously Jagan has contributed from time to time along with Vaibhav, and then they also have Imran. He is a good ad, but he hasn't really got to the T-ball, getting used to the T-ball. But nevertheless, I think they have a very good unit, and hopefully next year, Alaku comes back with this same unit plus more.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have done a fantastic job this season. That's what
Yep.
I felt. And Alagu himself has been a terrific outing this year, right? So
Yep.
Alagu played well, Jagan played well, and these players whom you just now mentioned, which I shall not mention again, they all
Yep.
had good seasons. So congrats, Stingers. Hard luck not making the playoffs.
Let's go to the next game. Now we get into Rising Stars and Phantom. Uh, the game which I thought went really close after 67 that Rising Stars scored. And Rising Stars again, just like Stingers, they have given some spark here and there. I think they beat Red Devils on their way here, but they've lost also quite a few games in between. Just like, but this season has been at least better for them than the previous years. This game again, they had no business to get out on 67 against Phantoms, but Phantoms, on the other hand, a lost opportunity after getting Rising Stars all out for 67. There was every chance that Phantoms could get this win and end a season on the high. But Rising Stars, I think their standout performer is Gopal Patel. He wasn't in this game, and that really showed up. That's why you see these 20 odd runs that Rising Stars were short. But he's definitely a find for Rising Stars, and for DCL itself, I've seen him in the T90 competition. He looks really good with both the bat and ball. Now, whether he stays with Rising Stars, that's a
I
different.
was going to ask you that same question. I was going to ask you that question whether Gopal Patel will be on Rising Stars next season. I was going
That's
to ask you, but you stole that question from me. But or you stole the thought from me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's looking more and more likely that Maulik is going to have Gopal Patel in his squad next year. He's
Okay.
been playing pretty much every tournament with them, the FCC Michigan Cup, the T90. I see him everywhere along with the Gujarat Lions team. So it looks more and more likely that he'd be joining Lions. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happens.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the game that was really interesting. The Raptors versus the Titans. This happened in the afternoon, and we called out this game because of the nature of the opposition, the impact it had on the rankings, as well as I think they had the schedule on their hands as well, the Titans and Raptors, because both of them played in the afternoon when all the morning games were done. So they did have the advantage of seeing what was happening, seeing Gujarat Lions lose, seeing fighters lose. So they had things in under control. But as probably Kapaji would say, Detroit Titans wanted to win this game. I mean, they looked out of the game at the start when Chepidi was going about his blazing 44 of 38 balls. Every ball that he hit was looking like he just means business. Sixes after sixes. But I think Titans have a very good bowling unit. Along with Vihar and Parag, they came back. Parag we've talked about him. He's been outstanding. He continues to be outstanding. I don't think there is any game that he hasn't picked up a wicket. He's probably in the upper 30s in terms of wickets. We can. And
Partho, I think he is probably leading by at least 8 or 9 wickets, is what
Yep.
I'm guessing.
Yep.
Just off the top of my head, I think he probably is leading by 8 or 9 wickets because I remember seeing a couple of weeks back or something like that, but just a rough guess. But yeah, I mean, I think if you take Kaushik Chapadi's innings away,
Yep.
the Titans had this under control. But Kaushik is the one who took it away from them. Kaushik just, I thought 4 or 5 sixes. I see it as 6 sixes, So
Yep.
yeah, Kaushik doesn't believe in hitting fours. He just swings the bat a little bit, and it's a slight swing, and it just goes out. Boom.
Actually, yeah, in DCL, it's harder to hit a boundary than a six, actually, believe it or not. So, if you have the power, if you have the timing, yeah, you may better try to go over the top rather than try to, go rolling on the ground. It's hard to kind of get the ball to reach the fence. But yes, to your point, yes, once they got Kaushik out, Titans definitely felt like they had a total that I'm pretty sure Gabaji would be happy after, especially after the start that Kaushik got. Wrapping up Raptors at 86, he must have felt really good. But then the batting, we talked about it, and I think Abaji and everybody on the show, even Amrit on the show, recognize that fact that their batting has been a problem, and it's still a problem. I mean, if you look at the batting scorecard here, the top order is very fragile. I think towards the late order, Satish himself has tried to kind of move himself from the 3-4 to now coming at 5-6. He along with Vihar, I think, are the key towards in the middle. If they can hold on and score those, milk the bowling and score those 4s and 5s in between, I think that's what's needed. But it's looking like Titans have to, if they want to beat fighters. Yes, they have the bowling, but they will want to make sure that they have a decent score on the board. And if they're chasing, then want to make sure that the start is good to make sure that the fighters' bowling doesn't get indexed into their top order.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gaba has to improve his own batting. I'll be honest. If Gaba was here, I would have told him the same thing. Gaba's batting has to improve if Titans have to advance further. But I think all of us predicted Raptors. There is a reason for that. And the reason was simple. Gaba's bowling powerhouse, but batting wise, there are a lot of question marks. And if you look at this also, after about 4 or 5 wickets, every one of them just goes into the middle and comes back. You would have thought 86 is not that big a total. But if you look at it, many of these are like playoff type games. It's like 1 week before the playoffs started. We know in playoffs, everything is going to be like 70, 80, 90 run games. And so the bowling goes up several notches, pressure builds up, all kinds of things happen. And so there's nothing surprising there. But I think Titans have to figure out, they went against GLCC, couldn't get it done. Raptors, the second team where all of us were predicting against Gaba and company. That's a problem. If I'm Gaba, that would keep me up at night. That in the 2 big contests, I did not necessarily deliver like I should have delivered. At least one of them I should have delivered. So that would be a problem. And I think Gaba is working overtime today, trying to fix that problem before this weekend's game, right? So hopefully we'll have him soon. We can ask him some questions ahead of his matchup with fighters.
Yep. All right. I think we've last game to cover. It's the FCC versus Sterling Strikers.
Do you want to just skip this because it's such an inconsequential game at this point?
Yep. Yeah, I'll just basically touch upon it. Just, FCC and Sterling Strikers. Sterling Strikers haven't been, to what they were. I think in this game, Pratik and Satish, that opening partnership propelled them to 103. And then Sterling Strikers losing a lot of players. Again, apart from Omar, who has shown up, but it hasn't been consistent. There was no resistance shown by Sterling Strikers itself. So, inconsequential game, both teams out of the playoffs. I think FCC and Sterling Strikers both. If you were talking about this game last year, it would have been totally different analysis as compared to this year. We basically just, they haven't been showing up week after week in this season. So let's move on from our analysis into our predictions now, or is that what we're getting into?
Yeah, I mean, we can get into the predictions and then we can go over the or we can show the prediction at that point of time too. Let's do the prediction and finish it off, and then we can just we can ask Chanakya questions and let him come up with answers and things like that, and then we'll chime in with our own opinions as well. We can cover all 8 games. So
okay.
let's just do the predictions.
Okay. Am I sharing my sheet?
Yeah, you are, but we didn't pick it here, right?
Oh, we did it in the So I think
so where is Satya there? Satya is missing.
To share that. All right. Let's see if we can get hold of Satya.
Okay. Well, since we don't have him,
let's go over this then. Since we have available better use of the time before we do get into predictions, we can move that towards the end. But as you can see,
go over each game and then bring Chanakya in along with this. We can leave this there, and then we can.
Is he online?
Yeah, can't you see him? I see him.
Oh wait, I can't see him. I for some reason my tab is not there.
No, it's not a tab. I mean, I see yours and I see everybody on the side.
Okay, but it's okay. Okay, let's go on. Let me make sure I'm on the meeting because I think my window somehow is.
Chanakya, do you need to share anything? I can't hear you.
Now I can see myself. I don't.
How about now?
Yep, very clear now.
Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you.
He's got a special mic too. That's why he's so clear.
Okay. So Chanakya, do you want to share what you have, or do you want us to share what we have? What do you want?
You can share what you have, Parthiv.
Okay.
I'm just commentary from my side. I don't have anything written.
Okay. So both Gabaji and me took some time to kind of do some matchups, get some stats out of the Cricket Club side. Really high level stats, nothing really in detail, but it points to some interesting observations which we want to do. Like, let's take each game at a time. Let's start from the first one, Glads versus MCC Miles. Everyone can chime in based on the stats. What do they observe? What do you guys think? What stands out? So for me, what stands out is, it's been on the MCC Miles. If you look at what stands out, they have chased successfully only once. And 8 times they have batted first. 6 wins batting first. Which makes me think that they are a dominant batting team. They believe in getting runs on the board and then making sure that they have enough runs on the board to bat the opposition out. That definitely reflects from their stats. And if you look at, they've just chased one successful chase, which is 29. So not really a chasing team, if from an MCC Miles perspective. Anything you guys observe from Glads and Miles?
That's the first thing I observed too. That they had only one successful chase. But in all fairness, they only chased 4 times. So out of 4, 25% success rate. Let's put it that way. All right. So it might look 1 out of 12 is a very low rate, but really speaking, they won the toss 8 times, and they probably selected batting all 8 times. So I don't think it's a mystery what either team will do if they win the toss. I think we can straightforward say right now which way the toss decision is going to go. So, but I think if you look at it, the Glads team, I would like to have stats like that, in the sense that it didn't matter whether we are batting or chasing, it was even. So we chased 6 times and we batted first 6 times. So out of the 6 chases, one of them was not successful, but that was against strikers. But everybody else, we didn't seem to have any problem. So again, I think number of players qualified, we had only 22 players. We qualified all of them. So, I mean, here it says Jeet, Shan, and Aditya. Well, we'll see who makes the difference. I think for us, one good thing is anybody can make a difference. That's how we look at it.
My question to you, Viju, is how much will Glads miss Arjun coming into the playoffs?
Well, I think what is it? Arjun went down in the Stars game. That was probably the 5th game or something like that. They haven't lost anything after that. So, I would think that we should be fine.
So, Mike, the reason why I ask is
let me put it this way: we will not miss Arjun.
Okay. The reason why I ask is, my question was leading to, Arjun really controls the tempo of a lot of the batting of Glads, especially, if there's a tough chase and stuff. Who do you think can fill those shoes, which Arjun has left behind? The temperament wise.
Who will fill the shoes? Well, with you're saying that, but Arjun not playing well, who's going to fill in the shoes? I think against Pokris, that's a good idea. I think Udit was the guy. So Udit stepped right in and did what Arjun does. So I think we should be okay. I mean, we wouldn't be losing this game because of I don't know. It'll be because Miles outplays us. Simple as that. But having said that, would we have liked to play Miles? I think the answer is very clear. We would not like to play Miles. One is I don't like beating Miles. Let's put it that way. I mean, I don't get any special joy or satisfaction or anything like that by beating Miles. So, yeah, I mean, if they win also, I mean, I would be like, okay, if we had to lose to somebody, then that's fine. We lost to Miles. It's as simple as that. But I like many of those guys there, whether team management, the outlooks, sportiveness, fair play, all those things. I cannot find any fault with any of their players. I mean, genuinely nice guys. So it's very difficult to, I don't know, we have to manufacture something to pump ourselves up, kind of a thing, I mean, but yeah, I mean, we like the Miles team. So, I mean, you wouldn't, I mean, if our skipper plays with Sanjay and company in, I don't know, Michigan Cup and Corporate Cup and I don't know, all of the cups, I guess. So they all know each other well. So that makes it a little more difficult, little more of a challenge. I still realize that we have a job to do. So they have a job to do. And I'm pretty sure exactly what they'll do. They're probably going to borrow what is that? A strategy from the striker handbook. That's exactly what they'll do. So that's I mean, they don't have the stars kind of bowling, right? So where else are they going to come up with? I think they'll come up with the striker handbook. That's probably where they'll go.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know that the bowling. If you see, none of their bowlers are in that top 15 wickets in the season. So definitely, that's a weak point in their season this year. Hasn't been an outstanding bowler or bowlers who have really worked magic for them.
All right, let's. I see that our friend Gabaji has joined. So
finally,
sorry for joining late.
Yeah.
Okay,
by the way,
I was just following you guys. I was just one thing that I'm not sure whether you covered or not. Even though MCC Mal chased one, right, it was against very weak team. The score was about 20 odd run when they chased down that one. So
29.
So they were having big trouble while batting second. So
Gabaji, that's why I said that this game, what will happen at the toss. Whoever wins the toss, we know exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, that might be from most of the game people wants to bat first, but for MCC Mile, if they have any chances, they have a chances only when they're batting first. That's what I see.
All right, let's go to our expert. All right, so we brought in our expert to cover the game so that he can give his opinion about all these games, right? So, Chanakya, what do you see?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Vijay, Parthiv, and Gabaji for having me on the show today. A little bit of a late notice. I only heard about it today afternoon, so I don't have anything documented, but I did some initial research.
No, we contacted you 3 days ago, did we?
The initial informal one was there, at the Corporate Cup game. On Monday.
That was the formal one.
Okay.
Formal, we have handed over the responsibility to Gaba to invite people.
My apologies then. But I'll try and share as much out of the entire squad here. I would say I'm the most inexperienced. This is actually my first time in the DCL playoffs. But I've been seeing the playoff games the last couple of years, so I'll try and add some inputs from my side. And have to say, I was actually thinking about something similar to this in terms of like the stats that you guys have put together. Really, this is enormous. I mean, it gives us so much of insight into each of the teams. And I agree with Gabaji. I think come Saturday morning, I think winning the toss might be half the game for Miles at this point in time, just looking at the stats and playing against a team like Glads. But at the same time, is it a possibility for an upset? I would say definitely yes, for a couple of reasons. One, Glads have faltered after having the number one ranking the last couple of years. It has happened, as Vijay said, against teams that start with S. So Miles doesn't have that, but let's see how they'll do. And second thing, I think when the season started and maybe even the middle of the season, I don't think anybody expected Miles to be sitting in this game 1 versus 16, right?
Yep.
If you would have asked me at that point in time, I would have said they might have been somewhere between the 6 to 10. That's where we expected them to be. Really kind of fell off a cliff towards the end of the season and ended up in the 16th spot. So I think the Miles team that we saw 2 years ago in the 16th spot, when they had that famous chase against Glads to get into the playoffs, versus the Miles team that's there this year, I think it's definitely there. One thing I've played with a lot of those guys on the Miles unit, very close with a lot of them, great team. I think one of the players that's not mentioned here, who Miles owed a lot of their success to last year, would be Brahma as well. I do know for a fact that he has a slight injury in his leg. Not that that'll stop him from his effort, but if you've ever played with a guy like Brahma, it's not just the runs and the catches that he takes, but I feel he's kind of, I call him, his contact in my phone is saved as Firestar. That's what I call him, because of his emotions, the energy that he brings to the table. So I think he might be a bit of an X factor for them. Quick question though that I wanted to ask, and not sure if Vijay wants to share it with us or not, but I heard that the F40 games are starting this weekend as well. I'm assuming the quarterfinals or pre-quarters there as well. I know Miles might have an issue there with Abhilash Patpi. Is that going to be the case for Glads as well, or is it going to be an equal contest between the two teams? Missing any players, Vijay?
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. The F40 is not going to impact us. That was one of the things which we discussed way up front. So again, Chanakya, one of the things which I think good teams do is they plan well in advance. You get my point? I mean, right. We knew well in advance that F40 playoffs will start exactly when the DCL playoffs start. And I mean, I wish it wouldn't, because all you're doing is preventing players the ability to play and achieve their dreams in a short span of life which they have. And if somebody wants to achieve their dreams, why not allow them if there is a way to allow them? Which is why I think Hardeep came on the show and said if there was a way for DCL to work with Mishka and see if there was something possible, because I think both sides win. So now when these Mishka players come and play in DCL, Mishka is losing out. When DCL players are going out and playing in Mishka, then DCL is losing out. So it's sometimes you are losing. Both sides you're losing. Isn't it? You're trying to get the best players out there and put on a show. If you want to grow as a league, you want to attract the best talent, And I think where DCL survives over everybody else is the activity which takes place after the games are over. Because if you're talking about players, I think Mishka has the better players. But the activity which takes place after the games are done, here somebody hits a 50 Chanakya, every Tom, Dick and Harry in the world knows about it. We talk about it. Guess what? Arun Tinakaran hit a 50, I don't know, 7-8 weeks ago, and I talked about it today. You get my point? Unfortunately, right. I forgot about it. But are you going to get that kind of coverage anywhere else? Chanakya, let me give you a simple example, all right? Glads versus Legends was played out last week. And if you don't believe me, you can go and look at the YouTube video views. And I shared this in our primetime group. I think on the Glads website, on the Glads YouTube channel, that has more than 1,100 views, 1,150 views or something. On the same game was recorded by Legends, all right? They have close to 400 views. You add up those two views, that means about 1,500 or 1,600 views have taken place. You get my point? Yep. Show me one Mishka game. Show me one Mishka game where you can even get 1/4, not even half. I'm talking about 1/4 the number of views. And I'll tell you no. And was that such a great game? No. I would rate the Glads Stars game and the Glads Pokeries game much better games to watch than this Glads versus Legends game. Why the Glads versus Legends game attracted so much viewership, I have no idea. I cannot explain that to you because I do not know who is watching it. But maybe Ravitesh Pujari had a fantastic game, and I was mocking Ravitej, saying that he has too many fans all around the world. They are all coming and watching it. Or maybe Jeet Nurban has a lot of fans. Those are the two guys who performed very well in that game. I do not know why that game attracted that much viewership. It makes no sense. Even a DCL final, we won the DCL final, has lesser number of views than that particular game. But what I'm saying is, what all the activity which takes place after the games are done, it happens in DCL.
Yeah,
which is why DCL is known a lot of places, is because of the activity which takes place.
And
now,
I would say, apart from the activity, I think it's the characters also in DCL which make it interesting. So
yeah, Parthiv, you have one character sitting right in front of you.
Right.
You get my point.
There are a bunch of us.
Yeah, so the thing is, Parthiv is a character. I am a character. We express our opinions. Gaba, this Excel sheet was Gaba's idea. Let's give the credit where the credit is due. He put in the hard work. 4 games he did it, and then Parthiv took over and finished the other 4 games. So there is a lot of work which is done, and these guys are bringing that value and bringing the viewers into this thing, and they are adding that added attraction, which makes it that these people probably want to come and play here, because you know what? The same thing which you do in Mishka, nobody even observes it. But here, people talk about it endlessly.
Yep. All right, let's go on to the next game, if you guys are okay. With
Yeah,
the GLCC,
we're okay.
Yeah, GLCC Gujarat Lions game. I'd love to hear from Gabaji to go with this, observations, anything that stands out here.
So before I let me put this way, before I started putting the stats, I felt that GLCC is heavy favorite. Okay, but the way I started looking into the different aspect and I put it on the A column, it looks like an even match. If you see starting from if you see the number of player who has scored more than 100 is actually Gujarat Lions is 3 and GLCC is 2. Number of bowlers who has taken 15 wickets is match. Number of wins 10 and 8 is because of the Gujarat Lions was in a better pool, tough pool I would say, and number of game batting first, all those aspects if you see, right, quite matchable both the teams. It is not looking very Gujarat Lions are not looking very off.
Yeah, but I think the one thing that stands out is the number of times GLCC has chased successfully. I think it's 6 times out of their 10 victories, which I think that is they've chased. Chasing is always comes with pressure. So and GLCC been there, done that in playoffs many times. I think that's going to be come playoffs. I feel if GLCC is chasing, I think they have a better chance than if Gujarat Lions is chasing.
That's true too. The stat also say the same, right? Because Gujarat Lions chased 5 times and they succeeded only twice.
Yep.
So that is again.
What about this interesting thing of qualification? I think that is interesting. GLCC has probably the thinnest squad going into the playoffs. 15.
No, one thing actually I wanted to highlight this. Okay, GLCC used more than 25 players. Because I remember they had a request where they moved couple of more players and they changed it and added it. So GLCC, if I'm not wrong, because I only did it as Viju I was mentioning, I did it only till quarter 4, pre-quarter final 4. So GLCC is the one who has more number of players who have not qualified.
Wow.
And I think again, part of it all depends on the team management and how well they manage their resources. You get my point? If you ask me, this year we managed our resources better than any other year. Reason was right from the beginning, we knew that there was a 25-player rule. And I know that historically we have always used around 22 players. And that's exactly what we have qualified. We have qualified 22 players. But a lot depends upon the management, unless you have a very dedicated squad like what Gaba has. If you look at Gaba's squad, they are very, very close-knit. That is one thing which I noticed in that game which they played against Raptors. They are very, very, very close with each other and cheer each other. They are an ideal team in terms of getting along with each other. I'm not talking about the talent aspect of it. Leave the talent aside. I'm talking about in terms of getting along with each other. But I think credit should go to the captain there. But I agree with what we are saying here. I think Samish, when he was leading and running everything, he used to be on top of everything. see, some of this is attention to detail too. Now maybe some of it is falling down the wayside. You see.
I think one couple of things that Akash has already mentioned when he came on the show. He did mention that he doesn't want to pull a lot of people and then dropping them, into the going into the playoffs. So he always had, or GLCC always had that kind of atmosphere around them where they want to get couple of players or more than couple of players where they can just qualify and just show up for the playoff. So that exactly shows on the number of players that they have qualified. So they might have allowed one people played 1 or 2 games wherever they wanted to complete their playing 11 and get that done with them, or whatever would be the reason, because I think around 8 to 10 people who were only played 1 or 2 games in their roster.
Yep.
So let me now let's go to Chanakya. Chanakya, what are the keys for Lions to win? All right. So initially, Gaba started by saying that GLCC are heavy favorites, but once he set up this sheet, he didn't feel that way. I think many of the guys who watch the show, and I'm sure every playoff team, somebody or the other is watching the show, they would want to know what do they need to do to win this game. So help Maulik Patel out, all right? Because after all, he lost a game deliberately because he didn't want to play stars, right? So he watched the show, he realized that what we were saying made sense, and he's a very smart guy. He made the adjustment. If you're Maulik Patel, what are you doing? What are the keys he needs to watch out for in order for Lions to win? Let me ask you that question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a bit of an eye opener for me as well, just looking at the stats, because I would agree. If you would have asked me before looking at this, I was of the same kind of perception that GLCC is heavy favorites here. I was predicting them to win the game as well. One of the things that just while you were talking that I was looking at, if you look at the highest totals chased as well, it's quite low at this point in time. And I was just looking at some of the numbers, and I think out of 16 eliminator games, the PQF games, the last 2 years, 9 of those or 8 of those, I believe, have had 100 plus scores that have been scored, right? I think that might be a key here for both teams, considering the scores they've chased. Another reason for that is I believe DCL made a conscious effort this year to start earlier and make sure that playoffs are played in warmer weather. I think we're looking at low to mid 70s on Saturday. It's slightly rained through the week. Pitches won't be that sandy, I would say. And we've got a lot of those. I'm not sure where this game is being played, but Novi, DSP, West Bloomfield, all good surfaces to bat on, I would say, especially if we are playing the morning game without any wear and tear, right? One quick thing that caught my eye, though. Gujarat Lions, the highest total chase successfully. Both of them are around that 80 mark. I was just looking at GLCC. Out of the 12 games they played, I think they've only crossed that 78 run mark 3 times out of 12 games. So it's not something that they've done consistently. I felt their bowling has been keeping them in the game. But conversely, for Maulik and team, as you asked, Vijubai, I think the key for them is, and you look at a number of batsmen over 103, number of bowlers over 15 wickets. I feel Gujarat Lions are dependent on a certain set of people more than GLCC, because GLCC, I feel they share the load across the 11-12. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge for the Gujarat Lions. So from their standpoint, I think if they are bowling first, I think keeping it to 80, within 90, I think they have a chance. I think anywhere if it goes above 90, if they're bowling first, I think that's going to be a challenge against. I think that's going to be a challenge.
The same note looks like.
Yep.
Yeah. Par score 90. I've written this right down. If you score 90, you can win this game.
Yeah, because
that's
I think
exactly what I wrote there.
Yeah, because I think a lot is on Maulik's and Ronak's shoulder, obviously, with Gujarat Lions. Not to say that they don't have anybody else, but when you're chasing a score like that in a pressure game against a bowling attack like GLCC, I think things get tough. So I think that would be the key.
And again, I think Tarun has been batting well for them, but again, it's not. He stays at the wicket, but the thing has been they're very dependent on it. And yes, if you can, I think the key to victory for GLCC is very straightforward. It would be the same key to victory which Glads had when we played against Maulik and company. Let's get rid of Maulik and let's get rid of Ronak. Let's see if the others can beat us. We don't think the others can beat us, but if they beat us, let us give them credit. But I don't think they can beat us. So as soon as those two guys were back in the pavilion, I could care less. I mean, as far as I was concerned, the game was done and dusted. I'm pretty sure GLCC has some very smart guys. They'll do the same thing, and they'll say, okay, you know what, this is probably what it is. So
just to kind of throw out one more quick number out there that I was just looking at. On the converse side, if Gujarat Lions were to bat first, I see that out of the 12 games they've played, whether win or lose, they've scored above 75 in 9 out of the 12 games. So it's not that their batting is failing. They've consistently been scoring runs. So I think, again, on the same side, I think GLCC, their batting might be the soft spot where Gujarat Lions might be able to target them for a win, right? Especially in a playoff game. Again, putting anything above 80, I think Gujarat Lions, I think they give them a great chance to win the game to defend a score like that.
Another point that I want to highlight about the Gujarat Lions, they have a couple of players from Canada which is unexplored in DCL specifically, right? So we don't know who all are coming and how they can contribute. So
I can bet on Maulik. He'll get them if he needs them. So
Parthiv and Gaba, let me ask you this question: if they haven't contributed for you this season in 12 games, are you taking the risk of bringing them in for the playoff game?
I'm not sure. I have seen one of the important game where I forgot the name because I'm very bad with names. One guy came in and took 5 wickets.
Yeah,
and he has been introduced as a 5th bowler where Lions were struggling, and then he got them a game. So that is where I'm saying there are a lot of people.
My friend Hari Parankusam is taking wickets. What are you talking about? It all depends on how many overs you bowl. Okay, my friend Hari Parankusam is also bowling and taking wickets.
No, I think what Gabaji is referring to is this guy Shivam Jadeja. I think he picked up 5 wickets. He's a decent left-hander, but I don't know whether he's qualified yet or not. But
there are 21 people qualified. See, so I have not seen player by player because I was just working on the count.
Right.
But out of 25 people, they were able to qualify 21 people. So I hope that they might have qualified some of those, and Maulik is getting those people and using as a weapon against GLCC.
Right. But I think, again, as you guys mentioned, stats look comparable. I feel, a playoff is going to be a pressure game. And I think GLCC handles pressure better than Gujarat Lions. So I give it to GLCC in this game. Satya is not going to be able to join the show. So
Satya is here.
In the dark. So.
Yeah, Satya sent. Let's go with the prediction as well, Parthiv. I think Satya has already sent.
Let's do that as we are moving through this sheet.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack. Glad's MCC Miles. I think we all are on Glad's. Chanakya, what do you say? Would you stay with us on Glad's wagon?
Yeah, I think I'll stay with the Glads. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll stay with the Glads for now.
Okay.
Vijay, you have to be watchful. He's not 100% sure. Okay.
Well, playoffs. I mean, nobody can be 100% sure.
Yeah.
It's playoffs, right? I mean, the 16 teams have earned their right there, right? And they're not coming to eat butter and cheese, right? They're coming to play the game. They're coming to play the game.
This is the beauty, right? Where PQ1, where the top rank 1 team is playing rank 16, and still we are not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Right. So that is the way DCL has become this year. Is very competitive.
Very competitive.
I would say.
All right, let's go to the next one. GLCC Gujarat Lions. I think all of us are on the GLCC wagon. Chanakya,
where are you seeing that?
No, he sent a WhatsApp message.
Satya
sent a WhatsApp message.
That's
okay.
Like in Word, it's in text.
All right.
Chanakya, what do you go with us?
From my side, just because my predictions points obviously don't count from my side, I'm going to stick with Gujarat Lions if they bat first. And a specific reason for that, I was just looking at some of the other stats. It says 3 players over 100. I was actually surprised to see that those 3 players are Maulik, Tarun, and Dwanit. Ronak is not in that 100. And I don't care whether he has 100 or 0 runs.
Right.
He's always a number one option in the batting, right? He's a guy who can win you a game on his own. And they have Ishan as well, Ronak and Ishan at 90 and 90. So technically, I would say that's a very strong unit. But I feel they won't be able to chase. I'm going to go Gujarat Lions if they bat first.
Yeah, I think very valid point. When I was doing the stud, I did also see, and I went through Ronak U Patel's stats as well. I think one of the best inning is still due for this season. So he joined the new team, and I hope that he will get out of a good inning in this particular game. However, I have also predicted GLCC, but my heart is with Lions.
Okay. You've got heart and brain working together. Let's see, Titans and Fighters. This is going to be a really, really, really interesting game, especially now that Gabaji. It's public news that our friend MBB is no longer going to be playing. That shakes up the predictions quite a bit. So first of all, let's go with the observation before we go into predictions. So both teams look pretty similar. I would say on my observation, I think as we've always talked about on the show, Detroit Titans are a better bowling unit than a batting unit. So that's where I think they edge over Fighters. Fighters have been decent also in terms of bowling, but without the Mahesh Babu, I think they lack that cutting edge. So I think on the bowling unit, that's where I feel Titans have the upper hand.
Yeah, Gaba bhai, I already, you were not here, but I already mentioned Gaba has to lift up his game. Simply speaking, you have to perform better. And I think you yourself...
Yeah, individually, right? I do agree.
Yeah, individually. Yeah, individually.
And I don't know what these two guys have been using as coins, but they've been winning tosses and batting first 9 times for Gabaji and 8 times for Fighters. So something there's maybe we should borrow their coin.
I'm going to give red carpet welcome to Garbaji to come and join Glads so that he can go and win the toss.
So one funny fact I will tell you: I never go for a toss.
You don't know.
So whoever is that charm.
So Prajwal from our side go for the toss because I'm very bad at it. Okay, I lost almost all the tosses that I have ever had for the important games, so I stopped going for the toss.
Okay.
Right. So
we are at 50. We are 50-50. So
we are assuming that the 9 times that you've batted, you've won the toss.
No, but I think on that few of the times we claim to, because we are as Viju was saying, right? We are the team who is very punctual on those aspects as well. So we are always on the ground on the time. Not just 1, 2, or 7 people. 11 or 12 people come by 8:30 in the morning. So
Parthiv, I will share the screen. Can you?
Yeah, if you want. I will stop sharing. Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. So it looks pretty obvious from that sheet that win the toss and elect to bat is the mantra for both these teams.
Look at this. I'm 182. I'm 1 behind Parthiv and 2 behind Gaba. And my friend Satya is the tortoise, right?
Satya has been taking a lot of risks trying to make up, but he's losing more and more.
And guess what, Parthiv? He instituted that, we have to go and select in Google Forms. And guess what? Everybody picked the same except for me. I'm the only guy who took a risk.
Oh, wow.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
All right, let's go. Satya, you want to share that sheet as well?
Which sheet?
No, he's doing this.
Oh,
you can.
Our leaders, Imtiaz, Raghu, and Vignesh. Vignesh is back in the leaders board. They are also all on GLCC board. So even though you guys are saying that the stats are showing that there is hardly any difference, but when it comes to sentiment, we all seem to say,
it's not just the sentiment, it's the experience, right? Gujarat Lions have never been, yes, Maulik has been there in playoff, but apart from him, Ronnie, Ronak, not everybody is going to be feeling that heat. So GLCC and those guys have been there. Akash, Samish, Abhishek, Ajit, all of those guys have been tried and tested, and they know what to do when it comes to this special game. So that's why I think that's the edge. Stats that do reveal some details, but I think ultimately it comes down to who can handle that.
Guys, we'll go through these quick. I have to again cut down, but then you can discuss on each games. I just do the
Maybe let's leave that Satya bhai, because what we are doing, we'll go by
Yeah,
one
we
by
are
one,
using
and we
that
have the
sheet itself.
prediction.
just see for the Imtiaz and others. So they are
Okay.
like almost only one except one game where the stars Indus is also same. I think it's on the Raptors game where they also had a difference. So
See, everybody is on Pokeri's
so
bandwagon.
that's where the difference. So Imtiaz picking Red Devils. So that's the
Okay.
difference. So,
Mm.
yep.
And guess what? I also picked Red Devils because you know
No,
what?
first you picked the different. I know.
Well, no. Red Devils
No.
is no. I first initially I was just went and picked everything, and then I said, you know what?
Don't say that.
No. I picked, but
I know.
what you're
That's right.
showing is my brain pick. My brain pick says Red Devil now.
Okay.
You know, after I went and watched the what is that Titans versus Raptors game, I decided to take a chance on Red Devils, and also Red Devils get a lot of confidence when I'm picking them. You know, so they're observing it and they take it as real motivation to go out and prove me right.
And you
So-
know, Vijay bhai, when Titan versus Raptor game was happening, almost half of the Red Devils was watching that game live on the ground, including
Okay.
Chanakya bhai.
Okay. See,
Everybody
that's
was
quite-
eager who's going to move they're going to face.
So,
Yep.
All right. I'll share that sheet again. So, am I sharing now?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
All right. We were at the Titans Fighters games, guys. So tell us, Gabaji, tell us about what.
I would like to hear, because this is my game. I would like to hear from you guys, because I
Okay.
will better to you guys to talk about it, so that I'll get
Yeah,
some input from.
My prediction is it's going to be a low scoring thriller. It's going to be like 60s, 70s, that kind of a thriller. And Parag Karwade is going to basically get you guys out of that hole again. You'll be like 10, 12 runs. Fighters need 10, 12 runs, and Parag is going to deliver. That's my prediction. Go ahead.
Chanakya, your opinion on this game?
Yeah, I think my pick for the game is going to be Detroit Titans. I think they're going to get the game. And the reasoning for that is, as I just look at the fighter scores, I think they started really poorly this season, and then they kind of picked it up, gained a lot of points towards the end, climbed, I think, from like 8th or 9th all the way into the 4th or 5th spot in the pool. One of the key elements of that was they were scoring runs like crazy, right? I think Moon was in great form. I think Mahesh had some good innings, and they were scoring runs like crazy. But one of the things that I saw is, if you look at all the playoffs teams this year, and even MI Rangers, which was a playoff team last year, Fighters has struggled against any of these playoff teams. The highest score that they've scored against them is 83 this season. I feel against good bowling attacks, I'm not 100% sure. Even the last game against us, Red Devils, when they were playing, they weren't able to chase the 60 odd, right? I think one of the key elements that's also not being looked at in this game is, I saw that this game is being played at DSP2, Drake Sports Park 2. And that pitch this season has been known to disintegrate a bit going into the second innings. I'm not sure if it's a good pitch to chase on, and I don't think either of these teams are that good at chasing for them. So I think, again, toss quite crucial, but I think either way, I think the Detroit Titans bowling might be a bit too much for the Fighters in this game.
Okay.
Especially with MVP being out. And I wanted to call out one more name that's not on here. Actually, I see you have Siddharth and Mahender. I think Sainath is a key element for them in this case. I heard that he's leading them as well in Mahesh's absence. And I think for them to have a fighting chance in their batting, I think he's going to be a key guy in this game. Experience, and he has the runs as well this season.
Yeah, I actually like our WhatsApp group there. You can ask a lot of questions and a lot of information you can get, especially those who are DCL fanatics. I think good way to get a lot of information right there. But in fact, I take some of the stuff which is sent there and forward it to the Glads group and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I think the key for victory, as far as I am concerned, wrote down it's going to be a defensive masterclass. Partha, you already said that. For me, the par score here is 80. That's what I wrote it down. I feel that without MBB, Sai has everything on his shoulder, which means you can be very sure he's going to get a generous dose of probably Parag Karwade and whoever else Gaba can think of, because that's what it is. I mean, they're probably going to take Sai out of the equation, or that will be the attempt at least. I think Karwade has to be Superman, but Karwade has to be Superman pretty much every game. He has been Superman almost every game this year. Gaba, as I said, has to deliver more. I think great team unity. They'll have to take that to make up for some of the shortfalls which they as a team possess. I also think Bihar has to stabilize that innings in the middle, but he probably also should try to increase that strike rate a little bit. In this game, I don't think they needed to do anything, but I would have even thought about sending Praveen Dige opening, especially against a team like Raptors. In this game, not really needed, because I think this is going to be a defensive battle. So for fighters, I think they need to use their experience too. They have a lot of experience, guys. Sainath has played forever. Sidhu has played forever. Venkat Vatvala has been a captain and has won the DCL championship. And also they got the dream matchup which they were hoping for, because there were a number of teams which were hoping to play Titans, including Maulik Patel and company, or even Dynamites. They would have loved to play Titans. And I know my friend Vijay Shanmugam was very unhappy to play Stars, but that's just the way it is. Of course, publicly he'll say, we are going to give it everything, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But that's all, none of us are fools, right? I mean, that's all empty bravado. That's why I said, if it is coming from the heart, I'll say what is coming from the heart. Even the recent, whatever I said on the SSK thing, that's how I feel. I'm going to say what I feel. But anyway, I think fighters, if they win the toss, I think Vatnala and company are smart. They will make Titans chase. Simple as that. So again, I think most of the playoff games, I think you probably know what the team which is winning is going to do. But again, I think the Titans batting is suspect. So that's exactly where fighters are going to go with it. But this one, every run is going to be contested. Every run is crucial. And we saw in the Raptors game, the Titans folded after being at 66 for 4 or 5 or something like that. And then the last 4-5 runs, boom, 69 all out or something like that. Am I right, Gababai? Or am I saw the whole game. I remember.
I know you were watching.
Yeah.
We were 56 for 4, and I got out at the 5th wicket. And after that, we got 66 all out. So we got 5 wickets in 10 runs and 62 for 6, and then 4 wickets in 4 runs. So I think we did pretty bad. At one point, I was talking to Molly, because I told Molly, I don't know what you guys discussed about that particular game. I texted Molly, Parthi was in a common group. Their game was done before. So I told that, boss, you are playing glads, because we are getting 5 points in this game.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the thing. But yeah, I think we did not.
Trust me, Maulik called me. Who am I playing? I told him you're playing GLCC. So he was like, oh, great. So.
No, it was before my game. So
yeah.
Okay.
If you would have got 5.
No, he was also interested to know after the thing. He was following your game too, because he was just verifying with me that he is indeed playing.
I think it was the first time he wanted me to get out as soon as possible.
Okay.
All right, let's go on to the prediction, guys.
Kavaji, can I ask you a quick question though?
Yeah.
On this game, you guys won 10 or 12 games, right? And almost till the end, you had a chance to be number 1 in the league. Yet, I think week over week, and then in the playoffs as well, people keep on discounting you guys as the favorites to possibly win any game, right? Like we were just seeing teams trying to plan and lose games just to play you guys in the playoffs. Is that motivation for your team? Do you guys talk about it at all? You don't care about it? Like, is that something that goes through your mind?
To be very frank, it doesn't matter to me and my team as well. Probably because most of the teammates get the guidance from me on those stats. When if you, I'm not sure you watched that game, right? Did we wanted to win that game, irrespective of either 5.4 point? It doesn't matter. You might have seen that energy on the ground and even the way we were playing, right? So I knew when I will be four, I will be probably playing Lance or fighters. See, at the point we are in the rank 3 team, right? And we played a decent cricket throughout the playoff. We should not, as if you ask me, right, we should not be worried about when we are going to the playoff, right? If we are, suppose we will get pre-quarter final the choice that we want, right? And then what will happen in the quarter final, right? What will happen in the same? If you are planning, way beyond, it really doesn't matter. At the end, you have to play a better cricket and try to win the game.
I think
Perfect example is 1983. I always see on that aspect. And in one of our group where Parthiv is again common, I sent that Jagan asked me this question: what you're gonna do with your this game? Then I just sent that Kapil Dev dialogue that we are here to win.
yeah. But yeah, I think the reason why people are discounting is because of the nature of that pool C. I think that's why most people feel that group hasn't got tested yet.
No, I
So
see as an I agree with Chanakya and you as well as an analyst. Even though we are a rank 3, we were not very convincingly winning the game because we struggled, and then
yeah,
with our bowling and the lower middle order, we have got the game. Couple of games, even the weaker side as well. We have, at the beginning we had that kind of start, and we all agree that. The good thing about my team, even though we are sitting on the rank 3, we are not overconfident on anything. Okay, we our foot are on the ground, and we know where we are making a mistakes and how we can improve it. It's just that how we can implement in the ground, whether it happens or not. Again, it's part of the game, whatever happened in that day. But we are not very high on that. We are sitting on the rank 3. We know that we need to work hard on each and every game from here onward to win any specific game.
Makes sense, Kavaji.
All right, let's go to the prediction, guys. Why is this? Everybody is on the Titans wagon. Chanakya, what do you feel? Are
I
you
picked
on?
Titans as well. Yeah.
All right. All right, let's go to the fourth game, which is Stars versus Dynamites. And we talked about how disappointed Vijay is playing Stars, and the stats do look great for Dynamites. I was while we were talking, I was going to them. They have got a pretty good season this year. They've lost a couple of games which they could have won easily, especially the week before this. But yeah, it looks like Vijay has got the team from last year. They've continued that last to last year where they reached the semis. They've started to kind of get into that consistency mold. But I think the one thing that is glaring is the average score batting first for Stars versus Dynamites. You see there's almost a 37 run difference. If you calculate over 12 games average, that's a lot. So definitely Stars have that advantage batting first of getting those big runs as compared to Dynamites.
Yeah. Another thing, Star might have some issue with the availability considering effort. I don't know what is the commitment from their player, because we always see Star as a bowling unit because there are a lot of bowlers who plays
Yep.
both the side, right? So like a Satya, like Anvesh. And I know they all play F40 as well. I don't know which team, whether they qualified or not. But if they are qualified, I'm not sure Star will go with the compromise team.
Dababai, knowing Hari Parankusam, every one of them will be playing here. Only question mark I have is over Satya Achanta. Other than that, everybody else will play here, whether it is Ravi Teja or whether it is Anvesh or whether it is whoever else you want to name
Yeah.
it. That's
Because
my feeling.
Yeah, why I was talking about, let me complete that, because number of bowler over 15 wicket is just 2. And when I was just digging into these stats, I was surprised to see that. But it is just because those regular bowler did not play enough
Yeah.
games. Like Anvesh or Satya, I think they played 6, 7 games only, and they still able to manage 12, 11 wickets or something like that. So That is something I'm not. That means they might have played enough F40 games as well. So again, I do not follow each and every one from the star side. I don't know which team they play, whether they qualified or not. But what they will pick for the going into the pre-quarter final on those side is something we need to look. On another hand, Dynamite, only one person who will score 100 more than 100. I think it is close to 180 runs. Is Murugan. And other than that, nobody was even close by. I think half of the run also, nobody scored like 80, 90 also, if I'm not wrong. So a Dynamite looks at this point on a weaker batting side, and they're facing an extremely strong bowling side, considering they at least get three or at least three their regular bowler. Considering Deepak Raj, Deepak will definitely play, and one or two more bowlers. So I'm not sure how Dynamite is gonna cope up with those kind of bowler when they have practically struggled with average kind of bowling as well. So that is something we need to see. And if I'm not saying this, but if Dynamite won the toss and they elected to bat first, probably this will be the game might finish the first among all the pre-quarter final.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Who is the best bowling unit in entire DCL? All three of you. I want to ask you the question.
Best bowling unit.
Yes.
I think
Assume everybody's
For me, it's KRCC.
KRCC, is it?
If they again, if they are able to get all those people, they are extremely strong bowling unit.
Okay. And what about you, Parthiv?
It's difficult. I would say I would give it to Thunders with the variety of attack that they have. I would go with them.
What about you, Chanakya?
I would go with Stars if Raviteja is bowling because of his shoulder injury, but if he's in the attack, I would go with Stars.
Yeah, I mean, I assume Raviteja is bowling. I also would go with Stars. That's the reason why I picked last week also, that I didn't want to play Stars. But anyway, that was just this thing. So Vijay has his work cut out. So Chanakya, let me ask you the question. Vijay Shanmugam is watching. He wants to know, how can he beat Stars? What is your answer? Give him some practical ways in which he can do to better his chances. That's the objective, right?
Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure if I were playing for Dynamites, what I would do with Jubai. I think as Gabaji was saying, out of the 8 PQF games, I think this might be one game where it's a bit more on the, like, it's not 50-50. I think, of course, any team can have a chance on the day, but I think Stars have a really big upper hand here. Just looking at the difference in their stats, 136 batting first versus 67 bowling first. And Dynamite's batting does seem shallow. So I'm not sure how they're going to cope up against one of the best, if not the best, one of the top 3 bowling attacks in DCL. Are they going to be able to cope up with that is my question. But at the same time, last year as well, when I was looking at Stars' playoff run, I think one of the things that always struck me was if their batting goes well, Stars are always in the game, right? I don't think they're the best batting attack or batting unit in DCL. If Dynamites are to win, I think they're going to have to go over those Ravitejas and others, try to restrict them. If any one of them goes off, I think they're going to quickly be pushed out of the game. So I think that's going to be one. And I would suggest avoid chasing at all costs. It's not difficult against Imti and Raviteja and Deepak Raj and Anvesh and others. Even if they were chasing 50, I wouldn't give the game to Dynamites in that situation. So I would suggest them to avoid chasing the game.
I have a simpler solution. Okay. Just change the ground schedule so that none of the star players end up there. Vijay still has the power to change it.
Okay, Partha, same question. Give Vijay. You came up with a brilliant plan to defeat Glads. Can you give your friend Vijay at least one suggestion on how he can beat Stars?
I think both Stars and Glads. I think this applies to both these players. A lot of these players play with the hard ball, so they like the ball coming to the bat. And one of the things that we did on Glads, it's not super secret, is we wanted to bowl as slower, and we wanted to get the slower bowlers as much as possible, so that the batsmen really have to use their power and timing to get us, because they're used to hitting big shots. So they are never going to, you have very few players who are going to graft and pick the singles and milk the bowling. They are going to occasionally go for the shots, and that's where we have a chance. And I think that same applies to Stars as well. They have some hard hitting batsmen. Ravi Teja and Deepak and those guys will go after the bowling. Even uh, that Hari Krishna Muralidharan, he's also a hard hitting batsman. They all will go for the shots, and that's where you have a chance. Try to get your slower, people who can stick to the line length better rather than magic bowlers. I think that's what I'll probably have Vijay do is prioritize those against these hard hitting batsmen.
Again, one thing that I have a different opinion other than Chanakya. If Dynamite win, they probably if they try to bowl first, and somehow if they do some miracle which they did against the GLCC and try to get Stars on the lower side of it, like less than 60 runs, they will still be on the game, throughout 25 overs, because whatever run they will make it. So whatever the chances they have, probably they have more on the bowling first.
Yeah, I think Stars are going to be better at defending. Once they get the score on board, I think it's going to be really hard. They'll choke up the runs, even if they get 70, 80 odd. I mean, they have the bowling to restrict teams. So, they will defend really hard. So it's going to be hard work for people who are going to go and chase that 70, 80 runs.
Yeah, and I think I'm looking at some scores here. Dynamites, they played against Detroit Titans, chasing 65, 40 all out. They played against they played against Spartans, which didn't qualify for the playoffs. Obviously, they were chasing 58, and they just chased it 59 for 9. So they were chasing 70. Oh, sorry, they won that game. 66 against Bulls, 50 all out. I'm not sure if Dynamites has the firepower to chase a game in the playoffs.
But one good thing about those games which you are putting in the stat, they were able to manage to get opponent out for the lower score also, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they just have to be able to switch that around and do it.
Yeah, probably, the playoff.
Since you asked about the best bowling unit, I want to throw back a question to you guys. Who's the best batting powerhouse here in DCL in the top 16 year?
I would say Glads on batting aspect.
Yeah, I would second that as well.
I'll third that as well. Let's jinx the Glads team before the playoffs.
Which you won't like it.
They've got super duper talented batsmen. I think one after the other. It's like crazy batting lineup. So yeah, I think we all agree to that at least. All right. Do we want to do predictions? Stars, Dynamites.
Everybody's on Stars. Everybody's on Stars.
All right. I think it's overwhelming. Hope Vijay doesn't take it too hard.
Let me ask you this: is this the most one-sided game of the entire 8 games?
That's what I see.
Okay. I feel I think all other games there is not that much of a difference. This is probably the game where there is the biggest difference. But that should motivate Vijay Shanmugam to go out and prove all of us wrong. So Vijay Shanmugam likes a challenge. This is the challenge. Go out. I mean, he already called me and he wanted suggestions on how to beat Stars.
Yeah, and all our opinion is about.
I mean, we can give suggestions, but we can't execute it, right? I mean, his players have to go and execute it.
Yeah, and one more thing, all our opinion about all the teams are based on the stat that we see, right?
Right.
It is not something that we want or something that way, right? We want whatever the stat we see, that based on that we are making an opinion and trying to explain ourselves.
Yep. All right, let's go to the next game. We are already past 10, so let's keep moving. Game 5 is Indus versus the new dog in the house, Kenton Hurricanes, the newbies, the rookies of this season into the playoffs. So first of all, I think one thing which was glaring to me is none of the Indus batsmen are in the 100 over 100 score, which is very surprising to me.
I don't think they've played enough games though. Praveen,
Praveen joined like towards after the 6th or 7th game. Manoj was out for quite a bit. I think a month and a half or so. So yeah, they have lost players in and out, coming in and out. So yes, that has definitely impacted. But even the bowling, I mean, I think there's just two people in the top five wicket takers. But they have been even. I think what you see glaringly on the Hurricanes is they are a batting first team. 10 out of the 12 games they've batted first. That is a very big stat. It's a very glaring stat. And 8 out of those they have won. So only once have they chased, and that also was a score of 51. So that itself is a remarkable stat, which I'm pretty sure Indus Thunder would grab onto it. Make sure that they don't, if they have a chance, make Canton Hurricanes chase. What else do you guys see?
We'll go to Chanakya, our expert. Chanakya, what's your thought process on what Canton Hurricanes need to do to win this game, and what Indus Thunders need to win their game?
Yeah, I think a really close battle between the two teams. I believe they both played each other in the league stages as well. I was just looking for what the scores were there.
If I'm not mistaken, Abhishek Shankari had a fabulous game in that particular game.
So it looks like Indus won it quite a while back in May, but Indus won that game. But just looking at kind of the stats, right? And we played against Canton Hurricanes in the league as well. They had an amazing season. I think they shouldn't change their strategy, right? And it's heavily dependent again on the toss. But their winning mantra has been bat first, put on a score, and then use their bowling might to put pressure, right? I'm not sure how strong that bowling unit will look if they are bowling first to a team, right? In both cases, I think this is Canton Hurricanes. The way they bowl, right? They're more predicated on their batting strength. I think this is going to be a game that we're going to see 100 plus runs from both sides. That's my thinking. I don't think it's going to be below that for this game. I think the par score is going to be slightly higher. One thing that I would suggest, though, not suggest, but look out from the Indus side against Canton is they have kind of these key people spread across their innings in their batting order, right? Amit right at the start, who really takes the attack to you, and then Hari, who kind of anchors it. I'm not sure if Nas is going to play or not, but I'm assuming he will. If Canton can set up the game for him going into that last part where Hari, Nas, and others are Sadat and others are playing, I think they will have an amazing game and an amazing chance to beat Indus. One of the things, though, and we played Indus this year, we were one of the teams to beat them as well. You can never count Indus out, right? I think we were defending 100 odd. They were 8 down, 4 overs, I think so, 36 or something to win. And our captain was still on the edge, thinking that they had a chance that they might win the game, right? That's how good of a team Indus is. They've shown that to us year over year. One thing on their side is they haven't played as many games maybe this year, but I think a bigger difference, and I think one of the key reasons they lost in the PQF last year, if I remember, against FCC, was Dinesh, Bangera, and then I think Manoj as well. They were in a huge hurry to get to an F40 game. And they were half and half, running all over the place. I think they all batted up the order versus their regular order, and they ended up falling short in their chase. So I think they might be really focused on this here. I'm going to pick Indus, but I think if Canton were to win it, they have the batting unit to get there. I think even chasing they can get there, but I think batting first they'll have a lot of advantage to put up a big score and possibly put Indus in a spot of bother.
Yep. I feel after the Stars Dynamites, if there's a next one-sided game, I think I would vote for this game because I feel Indus Thunders are heavy favorites over Canton Hurricanes. Yes, as you said, they have had a fabulous season, but they are still in their first playoff this year. So it's going to be quite a new scenario, new environment for them to get at. And Thunders, come playoffs, just like GLCC and Brownstown and these guys, they've been here, done this before, and somehow it gets the better of them. So I'm assuming, Thunders, yes, some of the players may have been off and on, but now And one of the tricks that they did is, they made Manoj the captain, so now he has no escape. He has to play and he has to be there. So that's how you solve that problem, to make sure your star players are playing and are available. So I expect the whole Thunder's team to be available this entire.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are saying that this is going to be the second most lopsided game?
No, I do not agree with that.
I think Parthiv was saying.
I don't agree with that.
I do not agree with that because
that is only Parthiv. Okay, I just wanted to, because I thought maybe Chanakya and this thing, because I did not have it, and I'm like, what am I not seeing? Because obviously I'm not
We'll
seeing.
see the scores. We'll see the scores.
Definitely, but there are a couple of things that Inder definitely should worry about. First thing, one thing that I wanted to highlight, you see less than 100 run is more than 100 run any player is zero, because they only batted first for the 5 games. Okay, 7 times they chased down, and while chasing they might not have enough total where people can score, or they might be giving chances to the different batsmen or that aspect, on that aspect, right? And their highest scorer is Praveen, who only played the 4 games.
Correct.
One thing that if I'm in this captain today, I'll definitely worry about my batting specifically. What if I know they have very big name like Manoj and Chetan and Praveen. I'm not sure about the Praveen's availability first of all, and Praveen and then Dinesh, right? But somehow, if opponent is able to get 2 of those cheaply, Indus will have pressure, whether they are chasing down or batting first. So at this point, I would say Indus will have more pressure, toward their batting side, as you were mentioning about Titans. They also did not prove, at least in this season, that they are a better unit as a better batting unit at this point. So something to watch how they will bat on the from here onward, like specifically pre-quarter final if they win here onward. And I'm not sure about the Praveen. If Praveen is available, it definitely he is always come and pitching on scoring those runs. I always see him on the form. I have not seen him struggling. I'm not sure his availability, but if he is not available, I see Indus will have some trouble with the batting.
Okay.
So in terms of upsets, right? Just a quick question I had for the panel here. I was looking at some scores, and last year DCL post the pre-quarters, no team scored over 100 runs in a game, right? No team did. And then I think the previous year as well, out of all the games, I think only 6 games out of the 17 or something scored over 100. The difference, though, this year is obviously we're playing a lot more games, I feel, on the red soil in West Bloomfield, Keith and DSP. And obviously the weather, right? We're playing it much more earlier in the year. We're before Labor Day here, and we're playing games. So I would say conditions for batting are much better. The question I have is, if conditions for batting are better, does it help the underdog, or does it help the team that's expected to win?
I feel
it helps the team expected to win, because they probably have the better team, and when the ball is keeping low, etc., good batsmen get out to bad balls, right?
Correct.
I agree with that.
I think the lower ranked team have a better chance if it's a low scoring thriller.
Right.
Yes.
If the pitch is bad, game become equal, because batsmen will not have an edge. So even a simple bowler can get a lot of wickets.
So by voting to move the games ahead, many of these weaker teams really shot themselves in the foot, if you ask me.
Possibly. The reason why I asked that is Canton, they're bowling, right? Ramsey and then Javed and others, they have that tendency to ball those DCL balls, as they're called them, right? Those low balls, the balls that don't bounce much, suddenly turn. Not sure if they're going to have that much of an effect on the red soil of Keith.
I think they are playing on Keith, right?
Yeah, they're playing on Keith.
They're playing on Keith.
The other thing which I wanted to say is, has Indus won a championship after Sandeep Gopu stepped down? I feel Gopu's leadership is seriously missing, you see. So Gopu has a tendency to make some gutsy calls, and they generally turned out to be right. So you have to give that man credit for making many calls which others might not have made, but his team bought into it. And somehow I haven't seen Gopu playing that many games this year. I wonder if that is going to come back and hurt, because Manoj, yes, he's a good player, but remember, he has got more leather ball experience than T-ball experience. T-ball experience is a totally different kettle of fish.
But I think Manoj has a lot of experience in the cricketing sense because I have played along with him. So I think that experience he carries, and I hope that he will implement things on the right time and the right way.
Yeah, and they've got quite a few of those guys. These guys. Praveen Bangera has been there for God knows when. He's been with so many teams, so many playoffs. All the things will definitely have a impact when it comes to critical decisions.
One question: there is a guy named Jiva, I don't know, 2019-0824. How in the world can we have a name like that? You guys say that you're on top of everything in the world. You guys say that profile picture and this and that. How in the world can we have a name called Jiva 2019-0824? You mean to say my good friend KK has been sleeping on the job?
KK is just checking the profile pic. He doesn't care about the names.
No, I think we did care about it at the beginning, but it is tough job. There are 700, 800 people changing a lot of things. People are adding, and I have seen people profile which was having a profile pic, but later on they have deleted it. So how much policing one can do, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I have seen a number of players with no pictures.
Yeah, because later on the profile picture has been deleted.
I think our friend Parthiv deleted a whole bunch of profiles to teach people a lesson.
Well, as Gabaji said, we can only do so much. We can't keep policing all the way 24 hours who's doing what. Anyways, let's go on to the next game. Let's predict first. I think everybody is on the Thunder's wagon.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Let's go to the Detroit Bulls and KRCC. Again, Detroit Bulls. Last, I don't know when they've changed their names quite a few times. So I don't know if previously they were in another team name, but they're relatively new to this. Oh my God. Tornado
warning.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh wow. It's like crazy stuff. All right,
I might to shut it down.
I don't know. We might lose power, but that's okay. Let's continue. This has been so. This is
this is amazing commitment. You guys are ready to sit through a tornado.
Well, this is unusual. We were just talking about it in the DCL committee. This year, the weather has been kind to us. It's July, August, and it's raining almost every single week. So
and you know what? I think we did discuss in the committee about the result day as well. But I'm extremely surprised to see the result outcome of the result, though.
Yeah.
I think again, people and the captain might have not seen the longer run, but when they will get into that shoe, I'm pretty sure we will see a lot of emails jumping around on that aspect.
Well, all right, let's go to the next game. Detroit Bulls and KRCC. I was saying, KRCC, former.
I think Parthiv has lost the power.
Parthiv is gone.
Gone.
Tornado hit him. All right, let's go to Chanakya. Chanakya, you give us the what does Bulls have to do to win?
Yeah, I think one of the key factors, and not a good thing for Bulls, is we saw KRCC struggle a bit this season in the middle there. And I was quite surprised because I felt all the star players playing, they should be able to manage the show. I feel it's the Yogi effect, right? I think if Yogesh Bhai is there in that dugout, KRCC somehow feels to do so much better. And I think they messed up their T90 chances just because of him not being there. And then going on after that, they won the Michigan Cup finals just very recently, I think so, last weekend, and he was there in that dugout. So I think his effect, just in terms of managing the team and all, I think is huge for KRCC.
He's a central force, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
he bonds every individual in the KRCC. When he is not around, there are just 12 players sitting on the dugout. So when
Yeah,
he
I
is
mean,
there, there is a team. When he is not there is no team. Something like that you are trying to
I
talk about.
think I already said this. I don't know, last week or the week before, because when Yogi is there, they play hard for Yogi, which is why Yogi has to play every game. Which is the same thing with Hari Parankusam. When Parankusam, that team is there because of Hari Parankusam, right? So the thing is that these guys, especially now with 12 players being able to play, you should be able to play. I mean, they should play because many of these star players are playing just because of them. They are the difference maker. They are the one glue which holds the whole team. And I think in Yogi's case, they play hard for Yogi. They don't play the same way for any other character there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Detroit Bulls had an amazing season, really good performances. I think they're very similar mold to like the Detroit Titans as well, right? They have a very good bowling unit. Restricting the opposition teams is what they're good at. But I think the key for them is going to be their batsmen fighting the battle for them. I think their bowlers are going to be able to do a good enough job against KRCC, but are their batsmen going to be able to fight their battle against Mufasir and Oni and others? I think that's going to be Muned, right? They have a really strong bowling attack, and I'm sure all of them are going to be there. The key thing, though, is, and I remember last year KRCC played their PQF against Strikers, and the first comment that Parthiv had, I believe, in one of the WhatsApp groups or somewhere was, "We got hit by the Oni tsunami" or something like that is what he said.
Yeah. Yep.
So I something like that could happen. He hasn't been clicking that well in recent games, but he's the kind of guy that can suddenly explode and take over these playoffs. So I think that's something to keep a watch on.
Yeah, I kind of looked through this Chanakya. According to me, if the Bulls want to win, they have three guys who have scored more than 100 runs. I mean, we're talking about Gaurav, 170 runs, Nikhil, 164, and Gino James. All these three guys have to perform in some degree or fashion. Gaurav can handle the pace. But I think the key is going to be to attack Oni. The reason I say that is you cannot have Oni bowl 5 overs and give 8 runs or 7 runs or something like that. Because when I look at it, fighters, the Oni's 5 overs went for 14 runs. But when Rangers played, Oni gave only 4 runs in his 5 overs. And when Red Devils played, well, guess what? Oni was hit for 5 overs, 24 runs. And so also you find that Indus, when they played them, Oni's 4 overs went for 17 runs. Guess what? Miles hit 5 overs, 23 runs. I feel Oni's pace has come down. I do not know if you guys feel that, but I felt Oni's pace has come down. I watched that, I don't know, Michigan Cup final or whatever it is. I felt this Oni is bowling a lot slower, which means that he has to be targeted because Mufi, to hit Mufi, it requires a special kind of a batsman. All right. Not every batsman can do it. And that guy moves the ball. It's a little difficult. But Oni, I think if you really want to do an upset, you have to go a little bit out of your comfort zone. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you are going to stay in your comfort zone, you're not going to be able to get the job done.
Yeah, I think
Same goes with Mufassir as well. If you are thinking that you'll stay there on your guard and try to play Mufassir, you won't be able to touch even a single ball. You have to shuffle a bit. If you want to score something against him, you have to shuffle a bit and try to do something so that he do not bowl the same 6 ball that he can do the best.
Yes, Mufassir, you have to move around on this thing and make him adjust his line, because the moment his line is adjusted, he's not the same bowler. Go and ask Arjun what I've told Arjun how to attack Mufassir. Now, that's why I said it requires a special skill, because you have to move in that crease and not give him a set target. You give him a set target. Mufi is the best in Michigan at dropping the ball exactly where he wants to drop. You move up and down and make him adjust the line. And then you hit him a couple of times, he is a different bowler.
That's where I was surprised when the key player to watch. If Mufassir is playing, I will definitely watch Mufassir than the name that has been listed down by Parthiv. So
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Which
we
we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you. I took it over your share screen, Parthiv, because it got free. So I'm sharing now.
Yeah, I'm joining from my phone. But one question I had was, from my observation, it looks like, KRCC likes chasing, Bulls likes batting first. Do you think, toss is going to play might not impact this game because either team might get what they want?
Just one correction there because KRCC win while chasing 7 times. It means they did not show up 7 player on the time. I don't
Yeah,
think KRCC intentionally has opted for a bowling or something like that. So
correct.
given a
But
time
but
KRCC wanna win, they will definitely bat. There's no doubt about it.
okay. But yeah, if you look at the stat, it looks like they have been winning chasing. Even though, yeah, you're right, they might have been losing tosses
The,
that way.
if you see right,
Parthiv,
they only batted 4 times and 8 times they chased down, right, and they won 7 times. That is
Chasing.
because I wasn't there on the ground, but I feel that most of the time they might have lost the toss because they weren't on the ground, right, like 8:45.
Yeah, well, I think also Parthiv, just look at the Michigan Cup final. They won the toss and elected to bat first. So if they win the toss here, which I think for a playoff game, they will show up in time. So I think toss
But
is
I think
again.
question here is not about the toss. Question here is about can Bulls do the magic with their bowling? Because only chances Bulls has to win this game when they do extraordinary with their bowling. Can they
I
restrict KRCC to a total where they have a remote chances to win this, like 60 odd run,
Well, it all depends on how if you can get Oni out quickly because others I'm not that worried about. I think if you can get Oni out quickly, then
From batting aspect, I did tell you, I think
I
offline
mean,
as well. I
Hemant
like
is a Hemant
Jivan.
is a okay.
Jivan is their key. When they are 3-4 down, they are 3-4 down for a cheap run. Jivan play a crucial role. I haven't followed him a lot, but in the recent time, last 1 or 2 years, I'm following him. He is extraordinary with the bat.
Parthiv, let me
And
ask you a question. Parthiv, I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who probably has the best batting average in all of DCL?
Yogi,
Best
Yogi,
average.
Huh?
Yogi Bhai.
Huh?
Yogi Bhai.
Yes, Yogi Bhai. Somebody is watching this. His average is 57, Parthiv.
He never gets out.
He
No,
never gets out.
he scored 50 in one of the game and he was
Oh,
not
yes.
out and he did not bat enough for the remaining game. So
Right.
No, but he has scored 57 runs and he has got out only once.
no, but
But,
in those 57 run in one inning only he scored
yeah.
50 if you remember.
The same game where Tamim got like 130 plus or something.
Yeah, that's the same
Okay.
game, right? He was
But
not out.
all I
Yogi Bhai
know
went
is
opening.
my friend Yogi Bhai is leading the batting average, baby.
There should be an award for that as well, Parthiv bhai.
Yes.
Well,
All right,
has to be-
let's move on.
all right. So I'm assuming everybody's on care in this game, right?
Yes, I think, but the question here for Chanakya, which you guys keep on asking, what Detroit Bulls do differently to win this game? And the question to you, Vijubhai, as well, because I know you give a lot of this kind of suggestion, right? So, question, because this time Vijubhai did not ask, I asked.
Yeah, and I think Vijay covered.
I think I already said that they have to play out of their comfort zone. They can't sit in their own comfort zone and think that KRCC is going to hand them the thing. You're in the soup. Okay, let me put this way, Gababai. A frog fell into a bowl of milk, all right, or into a bowl of milk, and he was sinking, all right, and he almost gave up and said, "Okay, I'm going to die. That's it. But then he decided to work and work and work. Soon that bowl of milk turned into curd or whatever it is. It became hard. You get my point? And it jumped out of the thing eventually after a long time. That's exactly what the Bulls need to do. You need to get out of your comfort zone. You cannot play your normal cricket here. They have to come out of their comfort zone. Their batsmen have to deliver. They have to take a few chances. They cannot let Mufi settle down. But even if you let Mufi settle down, 100% they have to attack Oni and every other Tom, Dick, and Harry. There is the other guys are not that great. Oni is their second best. The only person I might be wary of attacking is Mufi, because I do really think that you need a special kind of a batsman to attack Mufi. Everybody else is fair game. We are going after them. That's kind of what it is. Especially if, but again, it depends on how much you're chasing. If you're chasing 55 runs or 60 runs, they have batsmen who can stay at the wicket and get that done. Gino James is a master at it. Gaurav Huremath is a master at it. They both are exceptionally good. Nikhil Sunny is going to be the X factor. I mean, if he gets going, he can score fast. But in a game like this, I have my doubts whether he'll get going.
One more player, Omkar Atre, he can play all 24 5 overs if he wants.
Yeah, but we also need to score some runs.
Right.
We are not talking about batting 25 overs and scoring 20 runs.
What I was saying, if the lowest scoring 50, 60 runs, somehow it happens, then Omkar would be a key too.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it all depends on how much you're chasing, because that changes the entire dynamic. But they have guys who can get the job done. I would not want to give Bulls 70 runs to chase, at least if Glatz is playing Bulls. We would want something north of 100, because then we can control the game.
So what we are saying, that Bulls has better chances to win when they are bowling first?
Well, I'm not saying one thing or the other. I'm just saying that whichever way they go, if they bat first, they have to take some chances and set up a decent total, because I trust their bowling. I don't necessarily trust their batting that much, in the sense that there are some question marks. But will they be able to come out of their comfort zone is the big question. I do not know the answer to that. But
all right,
I mean,
let's go on to the Legends Pokeries game. I think this is the most even-sided game after Fighters and Titans, I feel. Look at the stats. They look very close. And one thing that stands out, Pokeries, I think amongst all the 16 teams, they have 5 batsmen in the over 100 scores. That, that itself calls out that they have had a good season in terms of batting. Again, just like GLCC, they too have a razor-thin squad, 16 people who have qualified. So Pokeries plays with a very tightly knit unit. I think they, even at the start, throughout the course, I think their roster itself is very small, 19, 20 odd people. So, they have always prioritized DCL over every other tournament that they've played. But it looks like definitely a very close contest. I feel like this is going to go either way. It's hard to predict this game.
Yeah, you're right on that aspect, Parthibai. Only thing that I picked Pokeries over Legend, because of Legend looks little weaker on their batting side. They are actually one of the very good side from the bowling, but we have seen time and again where their batting has been not performing the way it should be for the top 4 or 5 teams in the pool, so in the league. So I think only concern that I see from Legend is their batting, and at the same time Pokeries looks like a very strong batting side and a decent bowling side too. So you cannot complain Pokeries with the bowling, but only complaint you can have in this particular game, Legend looks little weaker on the batting side. And that's where I picked Pokeries over Legends.
Pokeries will not gift you the game. You'll have to earn the game. Simple as that. And Pokeries bowling will not give you any gifts. I mean, they are one of the most disciplined bowling attacks. They keep the ball all in the right places. But I mean, it's just going to be a close game. But I think I expect Pokeries to win this game. I do think that for Legends, Pujari is going to be the difference maker. He's been playing very well. If you go and watch the Glatz game, you'll find that he batted exceptionally well. There, the Glatz guys made a mistake. I mean, they chose to get Harish run out when the umpire wanted to give Pujari run out. But I do believe that, Pujari was not run out. It was Harish who was run out. But if you do, I don't know, slow motion check, you'll find that. But nevertheless, Legends believe Harish is the better batsman, I guess, because they wanted Pujari to retire. But I feel Pujari is in real prime form. So I would have preferred to take Pujari out in that game.
Okay, what does our expert Chanakya? What do you say?
Oh, last time around, when they played, Arun Tinakaran did not play that game. So that would be another wrinkle in the whole thing. But of course, Harish also did not play that game. So maybe they cancel each other out.
Yeah, I think from my standpoint, I think this is bat versus ball, right? Legends have been known over the years as a excellent bowling unit. Pokeries, I know they're a good team, but I was quite surprised to see the stats, because not just those five that they obviously have, but some really good batting after those five as well. They have Raghu Palaniswamy, they have GK and others who are excellent playoff batsmen. So I think they have a really, really solid batting attack. And one of the things that I was looking at is when you look at the Legends bowling, right? Praveen Arkatla, Harish, Sai Pratap, Guru Naga, they're going to be very consistent. Srikant Narne, they're going to be very consistent. They're not going to give a lot of freebies. The Pogri's batting attack seems like a very good, technically balanced attack to play against that type of bowling attack, right? You look at Vignesh, you look at Neil, Arun Tenakaran, all these guys who are really, really good at playing that quality bowling. I think the Pogri's batting is really well equipped to face the type of bowling that Legends can have. I think one thing to look out for, I was looking at the schedules, I'm not 100% sure if Harish is going to be there. He has a F40 quarterfinal. He may not, I'm not sure. In the past, he's played the DCL games even when that has happened. So I'm assuming Satish will bring him in. But without his bowling and his batting especially, I think Legends might be in trouble against a squad like Pokris. I think it's a very even game. But I think if Legends have to win this game, I think it has to be a lower scoring affair. I think if Pokris get off to a big start and get a lot of runs on the board here, I think they might run away with this game. My pick for the game is going to be Pokris, especially considering that Legends in the past have struggled to get past the PQF, get past the quarterfinal stage. I don't think Legends are a stronger team than what they were. I don't think they've improved in the last year. Of course, Raviteja has been in super form, but I think squad wise, I don't think they're stronger than what they were last year.
I too agree with that.
All right. Looks like Pokris all the way for us, all of us. All right. Let's come to the last game, which I think would be interesting because Chanakya, I'm sure we would love to get the insiders' opinion as well with Red Devils versus the Raptors. And I was, as I was talking about, in the analysis, both these teams kind of have played each other with each other in the same team, in many tournaments. So you guys probably know each other more than anybody else on any other team, I would say. And sometimes it's actually advantageous. It's better to know your opponent rather than go into an unknown situation. So I feel that there's definitely going to be some lessons which each team is going to know about each other. But I think from my point of view, if we look at these stats, they're so even that it's hard to differentiate between them. Both teams have scored heavily. They have batsmen in their hundreds. 4-3. Both have chased and batted equally well in their games. Both have won even number of games. The only place where I feel Raptors have done better is like when they have batted first, they've piled up some big runs. I think that's where the average is a little higher, and their highest score is like 152. But Red Devils have done a fabulous job as well, barring from a couple of hiccups which happened in between. They've been chasing really well. That Canton Hurricane game, that was outstanding. So I do feel this is also going to be just like Legends and Pokri. It's going to be really evenly contested games, but it all depends on the top order of both the teams. I think Raptors with Kaushik and Armendra, and Red Devils with Swarna and I forget. Who's the opener?
Gagan Singh.
Gagan Singh. Yes, Gagan Singh. I think that is going to be the key matchups. How the openers fare for both teams.
Parthav, I think first of all, let me correct you there. There's 119, which you are talking about average score being so significantly higher. You're forgetting one thing that was scored in Pool C, which was a cupcake.
True.
That's a cupcake city. You get my point?
Yep.
So for me, that 119 is fool's gold. That's fool's gold. That's not so great as you think it is. It could even be 150. So what? Because now you're running into a team which is coming out of Pool A, where they had to fight week in and week out some very tough teams out there. So all of a sudden, the level is a totally different ball game, and it's not as easy as it's going to be. So I honestly feel this is where the stats are lying. The stats are not necessarily true. I think this is going to be 8 versus 9, and as 8 versus 9 is expected to be a tough game, I think this is going to be a very tough game. But anyway, I'd like to hear from Chanakya. What you guys know each other so well. Please tell us what are your thoughts?
Insider leaks. I'm a whistleblower for our team right now.
No, we're not asking for any insider information other than publicly available information. I'm not asking you who is playing, who is not playing. None of those things. I'm just saying that you guys know each other so well. Obviously, you're having certain clear ideas about each other, which they also know that you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's we've all played together. We played against each other. We all know each other very well. Obviously, Kaushik, we've played a lot with him. Gagan obviously played for Raptors last season. Quick pivot though. I agree with the point that Vijubhai had about the stats being a bit skewed. I think Raptors scored 150 against Spartans, 150 against one of the other teams, and then 130 against Marvel. So I think those 3 games itself are skewing the stats there a bit in terms of the batting first. But I think either team batting first, considering the batting ability that our other team has in terms of chasing, I would say either team might be going for like, can we put 100 on the board, right? And I know for a fact that from our side, from the Red Devil side, it's something that we've been obsessed with overall in terms of talking with our team, letting everybody know that 25 and 100 is kind of the magic number, right? Not 99, not anything like that. You have to get to the 3-digit mark when we're playing a DCL game, right? And traditionally, I think for a lot of us, we've had a lot of success in T20 leagues like Michigan Cup and others, but not in DCL until this season. So I think adjusting to that, making sure that we're able to set it up for the 25 overs has been key. I think though, and I think it's beautifully put, the players to watch. I think both teams have really good bowling attacks, underrated, I would say. Both of the bowling attacks, like on our side, we have Gagan and Rahul, obviously, but along with them, Sai and others that are there. And from the Raptors side as well, they have a really solid bowling attack also. So I think it's a bit underrated there. But I think those key guys for Raptors, right, Kaushik and Amar, usually their winning mantra has been they both, or one of them explodes, and then everybody else, like the Bottas and then Kiran and others, and then Vikas, they kind of play around them, right? Very similar formula for Red Devils as well, right? It's Gagan and then Rahul kind of taking the forefront, and then all of us playing around them. So I think whichever team is able to restrict those stars the best with their bowling attack, I think they're going to have a really good chance. But in this game, and of course we're saying it's evenly matched up 8 versus 9, I think maybe one of the most evenly matched up games of the pre-quarters. I don't think either team has an advantage batting first or batting second. I think, let's say, Devils bats first, scores 100. I think Raptors definitely will feel confident of chasing that. Vice versa. I don't think there's one way to win this game. But at the end of the day, I think whichever team comes with the mindset where their intent is to bat the 25 and get the runs on the board, I think that team is going to have the success. I think the batsmen are going to win it in this pre-quarter game. Very, very close game. Don't know which way to call it. I don't think it would be ethical of me to call the game either, but it's be an exciting game. One thing, though, that might be a big difference is I was just looking at some of the numbers. I think across 20 odd players, 19 qualified, Red Devils only has all together, I think 4 playoff games experience. I think
Yep.
that is going to be a difference. Possibly none of us, or most of us, I think Gagan maybe, I think Soumit was another one. I think 2 or 3 players who have played in a DCL playoff game. So I
Yep.
think that could be a difference. I don't know. It's our first experience, so that's something to
But
look at.
but also one other thing to note is Raptors have also been faltering a lot in the playoffs. I mean, they have traditionally been a very strong powerhouse, through the years, but they haven't done justice to their, the talent or the squad that they've had. They've always somehow found a way to lose, especially in the first 3 quarters and quarters. So it's going to be interesting. Even though they have been there, they've faltered quite a bit as well. So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Vijay, is there a paper that you've written down for this game that you can send to me?
No, actually, this is the game I did not write anything down because I knew that you were coming on the show, so I was curious to hear what you had to say about this game. But this will be for me, this will be the game which I would really like to watch.
Yep, and this is the only game that I think that analysts differ. I mean, Viju calls it Red Devils. We are all on the Raptor side. So
And so also Imti, the leader. All right.
Imti, the leader, yes.
Yeah, the great brain of DCL. He has been leading right from I think day one, and he has
Yep.
never surrendered the lead. And here is an opportunity for I think Raghu to catch him up. I don't think Vignesh can catch Imti, but at least not this week. But here's an opportunity for that to swing. So I know Imti will be watching this game with great interest because he has Red Devils winning too.
And whenever Vijubai has picked Red Devils against the extreme, Red Devil has won. So
by the way, but my friend Hardeep Singh also picks Red Devils.
Nice.
So obviously the Red Devils have captured some of our imaginations, or at least they are deviling with us at least.
one thing that I have learned from my game against the Raptor that I would pass on to Chanakya. You need to play Amar very carefully. I did the same mistake, and I think a couple of my own batsmen did the same mistake. His bowling looks easy,
Yeah.
but somehow when you try to score against him, right, you get out. I do not understand. It has been again. I got out when I was batting him, and when I faced him 2-3 balls, I said, okay, this looks among all those 4-5 balls, this looks very easy. And then when I tried to score, I got out. And the same happened with a couple of more batsmen. And then I started looking when I came home and I started looking Amar stats, and even in the past experience, he was picking wickets here and there. Even though
I think both.
He's just another. Because his stats speak differently, but when he bowls right, he looks very ordinary. But he bowls on the stump with slightly cutters, he's dangerous. So if you do not get him wickets, you have better chances.
Parthiv, there is a mutton biryani order in Akshay Patra coming up. Guess what? Guess who is ordering that mutton biryani? It is Amar. Amar is ordering the mutton biryani because after hearing Gaba speak, he's going to have a good mutton biryani on Akshay Patra's.
But yeah, that is an interesting point because his batting dominates so much that we forget that he picks a lot of wickets. Both. Yeah.
When you go into the game against Raptor, you discount Amar as a bowler, but he is not. He is actually a threat. That's what I'm saying. I think you're not understanding my point, Viju. Yeah. I'm saying
no. I'm giving it as a credit. You're not understanding my point. Okay. I'm saying after hearing you speak, Amar is going to be so happy that he will say, "Let me order." I'm sure the kitchen is closed at this point. He'll say, "Kitchen, open up and get me a mutton biryani." Gaba has given me some high praise. That's what I meant. No, you're taking it the wrong way.
I got that. Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
All right. It's almost touching 3 hours. So let's end the show. Thank you so much, Chanakya, for joining us. Hopefully, if you can join us in the next weeks or so, let us know. You're always welcome to share your insights and your stats and data. So let us know.
And also, you speak very well. So that makes it more interesting and more exciting, because at the end of the day, we want to make it easily accessible for anybody who's watching the show also, right? So it should be something which should add value. So you bring a lot of value. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you.
yes.
My pleasure.
So yes, if you are available, we'd love to have you back on the show during the next few weeks as we run into the DCL finals. But yes, it was a great show. Thank you, Gabaji, for initiating the sheet. I think that is going to be very valuable. I'm sure a lot of captains will use it. I may have already taken screenshots for use. But it was a great
Thank you.
document for us to.
Excellent job, Gaba bhai, and excellent job, Partha, filling it up.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night and take
Good
care.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.